up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fish and Grits, the podcast. We are the usual suspects. I am Ryan, joined by my co-hosts with the co-mosts,
Marco
and
Micah.
Micah Poole.
You should just do like say all our names and be like do.
I had to do that one time. It was actually my platoon sergeant in AIT, because I was the platoon guide, which is like the student leader of your formation. And actually, I was it for the whole company. I forgot about that. And I was the way formations work is you got your people all standing in their rows, their columns in formation, and you have someone stands out in front of the formation who is in charge of the formation. And then they report to the person who is in charge of the whole company. So me being in charge of our formation, my platoon sergeant was like, hey, I want you today, when you call the formation to attention, I want you to introduce me like this is 1996 and I'm Michael Jordan. And I was like, okay. Like, I can't tell you no. But yeah, that was an interesting day in PT.
So you should channel that at the beginning of each intro.
I'll do it.
Did you play the Bulls?
Once the budget's up, people don't know we're gonna go overboard.
Once I get a soundboard, man, I'll just like intro button. I want to wing
Starting at drill sergeant.
But yeah, so today is January 26th. We are almost through January, man. I feel like maybe it's just all the election stuff. Maybe I was just wishing the days away that this just flew by.
Yeah. Please
be over. I'm so tired of this.
Tired of what?
The election stuff.
Election, inauguration.
Yeah, it was like rushing to get to the inauguration just so everyone else would shut up.
The attack on the Capitol.
I just think it's always funny. It's like everybody's like, "Oh man, 2020 is so tired." Then like 2021 starts, and we're already tired of 2020.
I know. I was like, "No, get January over with. Come on."
2020 made all this. You know, typically at the end of 2020, at the end of the year, everybody's like, "Yeah, next year's gonna be my year." 2020 taught people so many people a lesson. Everybody was just like, Please just be better for me. 2021.
I promise I'll do better.
Right, cut my L's in half at least.
But none of those people saying that they promise they'll do better live in Atlanta, because our clubs are still packed, our strip clubs are still packed, and our COVID numbers are still going up. Yay!
Now we got COVID 3 and 4, or was it COVID 26 and 2077? What are the news? There's like 3 new strands now.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention. But way to go, guys. Y'all are like, oh, the best thing I could do is go out and get it, and then we'll all be immune. But no, all I'm going to do is introduce more DNA into it so it can mutate. Idiots. Man. Idiots.
New world.
Yeah. So you guys probably saw the message last night, but I was a little under the influence, and I was like, tonight's the night. I'm finally going to watch Tenet.
Oh,
and
how did you like that?
I think the better question would be, how much did you understand it? Because if no one's seen it, it's one of the most confusing movies I've ever witnessed. You know, even sober, I know people that said they've watched it 3 times and still miss things.
Really? Well, I can see you missing things, but like not understanding it as a whole.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's so much that goes on in that movie that can change the way you view what the outcome was and what actually happened. So,
Micah, have you seen it? Are we about to spoil alert, or how deep we get?
I'm not gonna give you anything other than surface level, just what I thought of the movie. But there's so much that happens in it, and it happens quick, man. And it's like the movie starts and you're in it. Like, you're just off. And it's like, you better keep up because there's a lot going on. And things are going to go in orders that you've never seen before and introduce a realm of understanding and physics that you've never seen before in a movie or even read about. So keep up, sir. We're moving. It's kind of how it started, and it just went.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Like, literally. It should have started with when they went to the opening credits. They should have just said "Good luck," and at
Good
the
luck
end to say,
watching this. Good luck
"Did you
keeping
get
up.
it?" But
I mean, go ahead.
go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say just real quick. It was along the lines of Interstellar as far as trying to understand it goes, and just because it introduced so many things that you've never seen before. At least I've never seen in a movie, and especially executed on that such a large scale. Like I would say Interstellar, this, and Inception.
Yeah.
Inception was one that for me that was super hard to follow.
That's what I was about to ask. Was it similar to Inception as far as the complex story and the twists and turns that just made it just like, okay, wait, what just happened? Wait, how do we get to this point?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And there was a point where I had to pause it. Like I don't stop movies when I was in them, but I was like, I need a mental break.
To me, it wasn't as like. I feel like Inception was almost annoying in a sense where it was like, what the hell's going on right here? But in this movie, it's like it all makes sense. To me, it's just the ultimate movie of you need to pay attention. Like you said, you literally have to pay attention to every second. But it's the kind of thing that you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
At the end, you'll be like, oh, I get it now. That's why I didn't feel like it was too evasive in that sense. I thought that it tied the bow pretty neatly. But it was really abstract for sure.
There were several points of the movie where something would happen and they wouldn't focus on it. And it would happen on the screen and like it was a major event and it would go like that. And you were like, what the what? Okay. And they would just keep rolling. And then 10 minutes later, you would see it happen and why it happened. You're like, oh, so it wasn't like something in a movie where they would kind of like tease you with something. You're like, look, you're supposed to pay attention to this. They're like, nope, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in front of you. So it had a very realistic feel to it in that sense, even though it was like major sci-fi. Because like in those type of environments, if you're not paying attention at all times, you're going to miss things.
Yeah.
So hats off to Christopher Nolan. It was very well done. Like the cinematography was great. Just the idea behind the movie. Like if someone told me, hey, here's the basis to Tenet, make it a movie. It's like, how do you even execute it? And I'm going to give both of you guys my Amazon after this so y'all can log in and watch it because I own it. So it's definitely something I recommend to someone. Maybe do it in a little more sober of a headspace though, because it was rough, man. When I took my break and went upstairs, like Nicole had just come down from showering, and I talked to her, and like she's talking to me, and like I'm still in the headspace of this movie, and you have to like once you watch it, you'll understand what I mean, like the headspace, because you have to literally change the way you think and view things to understand some parts of this movie. And so I'm doing that, and I go upstairs.
I'm surprised it impacted you that much because I just thought it was. I don't know. I thought it was just like a quirky idea. I didn't think that deeply about the fact that I knew it was extremely. It was. I don't want to even say revolutionary, but it was just very different than anything you've ever seen. But at the same time, I don't know. I caught on to it pretty quick, just in terms of.
I mean, I get what. Yeah, I went into it like I saw a couple ads for it early on. I know I like Christopher Nolan. I know I like a lot of the actors and actresses in this movie. So I was like, all right, this is something I definitely want to watch. And I didn't like when I know there's a bunch of movie that I most certainly want to see. I don't watch trailers for it. I don't research it. I just want to go into it, with a clean slate because I don't want to be influenced in any type of way. So I went into it and I didn't know what to expect, and it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. It was
so much better than Black Klansman, though. This is definitely young Washington's best role so far.
Yeah, he was excellent in this role. Excellent. Like he was made to be this character. But yeah. So this past like week and a half, really, baseball royalty has taken a major hit. I mean, we've lost some big names of our childhood. If you're 30, 40, these are even 50, you either watch these guys play, you saw the end of their careers, you saw them coach, and you knew all about them because they were greats. So two major names in Atlanta history actually passed, and we'll start with Don Sutton. Many of you know his name. You've seen him in the booth. You've heard him call games. You've heard his son call games. Wait, hold on. Is that right? Sutton had a son, correct? It's not the other one. No, it's Chip and Skip is who I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm mixing
the carries.
I'm mixing the carries up in that sense. But Sutton was a legend in the baseball broadcasters community, and in Atlanta too, especially. So he passes away at 75. Do you guys have any big memories or anything that stands out with you with Sutton? Because I know it's hard to keep memories of like broadcasters, but
not a specific moment, but I always remember like going home, like playing baseball, and then going on the way home, listening to the Braves game on the radio, and Don Sutton is one of the most memorable voices you'll hear.
Right. So Don Sutton was the radio guy. Yeah. So I mean, if he's that voice, then that's just pretty much my whole childhood. Just always riding with my grandma, her just playing Braves in the car until we'd get home. You know, she just was always on her Braves, so I would always hear that voice, and it's a calming thing almost. It's almost like
Yeah, he was very smooth with his calls, very smooth. But then we also lost probably the most electrifying and most popular Braves player of all time, and that's Hank Aaron. Some may argue the true home run king. He's certainly Atlanta's home run king, and he passes away at the age of 86. Micah, you had mentioned something pre-show about what people were saying and what you had heard.
Yeah, they said he had gotten the COVID vaccination 2 weeks before he passed, and there was some speculation that it might have had something to do with it. I don't think they've actually. I think they said they know the cause of death, but haven't released the cause of death. But I'm like, yeah, it could have had something to do with it, but it could just be the fact that he's 86 years old and.
Right.
Well, also he's 86 and then he's taking a vaccine that is brand new. I think those two things mixed together, it leads to perhaps what we see here. But
not to put on too big of a tinfoil hat, but I think it's important to note that a lot of the people who have died from COVID vaccination complications are on about a 2-week window.
Really?
So, yeah, there was a doctor down in Miami who took it, who was like 46, and he died of complications of it 2 weeks after. There was another one in the Midwest, was a nurse. It was about 2 weeks. So those are like I said.
This is the Pfizer one? Or the Moderna?
I don't think I don't think they're all the same. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay.
Because like I said, I don't want to get too conspiracy theory on this because there's a lot of factors in the world and a lot of people just die for no reason sometimes.
Right.
And
cancel Pfizer.
We're now putting a microscope on anybody that who gets the vaccination and then dies.
Yeah.
So it could just be sheer coincidence. But that to me, it's like, okay, it could be. And the fact that they're not releasing the cause of death makes me kind of go,
They're trying to figure out how to say this. But I mean,
sorry, let me remove the tinfoil.
I mean, I don't want to discourage anybody from perhaps taking a vaccine, but but it is important to know, that what might happen. But at the same time, you also got to know that vaccines have been a part of human life for a very long time, and just do your research.
Yeah. And then lastly, Tommy Lasorda, the Dodgers great and Hall of Famer, passed away at the age of 93. This happened about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, but I don't think we mentioned it in either of our previous shows. So he passes away at the age of 93. There was the clip of Dave Roberts going to take the podium or the post-game interview after Game 6. It was either the World Series or against us, and you see him like start to come out of the tunnel, and then you hear and someone's like yelling at him. You can tell it's an older person, but you can't tell what he says. And Dave Roberts comes up to the podium. And Tommy Lasorda had just told him, he's like, "You ain't done shit until you've won Game 7." So he was a personality. I mean, there's plenty of clips of him showing that off throughout his coaching career. Did you ever hear that clip of him, that interviewer or that reporter asking him how he felt after a player just like hit 3 home runs against him?
No, I didn't see that.
It's very amusing. If I won't go into it, but if you want to get a good laugh, just look that up. And he just goes at the reporter.
I do want to say this though. The Hank Aaron passing though really did, like, it was a big thing for me personally, because that was like, growing up in a household of pure Atlanta natives, like legit. Both of my parents, my grandparents on both sides are from Atlanta, so I'm the purest. True to Atlanta in my background. There's nothing truer to Atlanta than me. So, that really did affect me. And not to admit, I looked up to him as a kid, and also, I mean, my uncle worked for him. He was
I
GM.
forgot about that.
Yeah, he was GM of Hank Aaron BMW. So, I've had a lot of ties to Hank Aaron. So, of course, his death really did kind of hurt. So,
yeah, I totally forgot that you had that connection to him.
Some would say he's probably, the first sports superstar. You know what I mean? After Babe Ruth and all them, but like just that they were saying he was with the regional success of the Braves and stuff. He had a lot of exposure, especially in a black town. Like him coming here, I was hearing them talk about him. But yeah, his funeral was today, I believe it was.
They split it up into 2 parts, I believe, right?
I'm not sure.
COVID.
I know they were all talking today and doing their. I think they're gonna play it back on the radio tomorrow.
Can we talk about a Hank Aaron memory real quick that I've always been curious about? But it was the home run to go ahead. It's the famous clip of him hitting that bomb to left center, and he's rounding the bases. But by the time he's at second, there's that fan running with him, and the fan is taking a trajectory like he's coming from the outfield, right? So, have any of y'all ever thought, like, where did he come from? And if he came from the outfield, talk about some burners to get to second base and meet Hank Aaron there at that point.
Yeah. I actually did hear, I've seen an interview where they interviewed the guy and he talked about it, because I think there were 2 guys that ran on the field.
They're both hippie looking dudes, right?
And yeah, it was like when he hit 715, they were just like, we had to touch him essentially. And they ran up and then just shook his hand, and as he rounded the bases. And I don't know. I didn't really remember what they said happened after that. I'm sure security escorted them out, but
yeah. That had to have been terrifying for Hank though, because he was getting all those death threats for
right. He
a black man about to break a white man's record in that era, and he was getting death threats from people, and then to round second base, and here's 2 white guys running at you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what their intentions are.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, they visibly are like smiling, but I mean, at the same, I see what you're saying. That would have been very frightening. But he handled it.
Charles Manson,
consummate professional.
Smiled, and they killed people too, though, Marco.
I mean, I know, but I mean, in the moment, you could tell that they were in glee for him. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. But yeah, that was a bad analogy, Ryan.
Is it same time, same era?
That's a bad analogy, man. He didn't smile. They weren't smiling when they were slashing them up.
There's personal accounts of them doing it.
Marco's face is like,
Wait, who survived the massacre?
There's been plenty of people who saw them like commit these crimes.
I mean, the one crime. Were there any survivors? I didn't think there were any survivors.
Not at the one, no. But there was more than just the one big one. They killed a lot of people.
I know, but I don't know. That was just a bad analogy, man. I don't know.
Okay, Marco. Okay, I'll give you that one. Jesus. But today, I think not to rank these terrible things is in importance, but probably the most relevant to all of us is today is the 1 year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. And holy cow, I don't know about you guys, but that I felt like that just happened. I remember the scenes. I remember the text messages. I remember exactly what I was saying to people when it happened. Because I was like, this isn't real. This is just, the people are saying this because a helicopter crashed. They don't know who it is. The helicopter crashed like 2 minutes ago. How do you know it's Kobe? Like, that's crazy. But
yeah,
it's like some people are like, damn, it's already been a year. And damn, that was a quick year. It's like two people. It's like,
which is crazy because it's such a monumental event that it almost erased all of the garbage that we dealt with in 2020, and it's just like, damn, it's been a year already. Like, man, because I remember where I was. I was working at the restaurant, and when one of my coworkers was like, Kobe Bryant died, y'all, and it's like, nah, he playing. Then they turned it on to the TV, and it was just like, oh wow. It's like it deflated the entire mood of the restaurant.
Yeah. Marco, I know you got something to say. You're our biggest resident basketball fan.
I mean, yeah, man. I hate to memorialize death dates. You know what I mean? I hate when we remember the day a person perished, but yeah, I mean, that day was super hard. And I also remember because the Carr's birthday was right then. And that was actually the day. I remember we went to his party and that was the day. And I was completely just, tore up. They're like, I mean, losing Kobe was, just huge. I mean, there's just tears. I haven't cried in a long time, but that, that definitely warranted tears. But yeah, man, I'm glad he left so many memories, but like I said, I don't want to harken. That's why I didn't even post anything on, social media, because I just don't like memorializing death dates. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Kobe. I was never. It sucks that I feel like a lot of people view Kobe now the same way I do, and it's like, I hated him when he played. I couldn't stand Kobe, man. But it was partially because he was so good, and he was, you tend to get that type of that view when your team isn't doing something and another team is just reeling off. This is why a lot of people hate Tom Brady and a lot of people hate the Patriots. And Kobe and Shaq, then Kobe by himself, and then Kobe with Bynum and Powell. It was like 15 years there, which is Kobe was always there.
But he fell off. I mean, the 8-24 transition was a little rough. He missed the playoffs there. And he,
when he was by himself,
when he was by himself, yeah.
24
Kobe is definitely better Kobe.
But where Smush said him and Kobe could have been an epic duo if they stayed together.
Yeah, man. I'll always say Kobe Bryant, I feel like, I think he gets ranked accordingly, but I think he's a little slept on because those 2 championships he won with that cast of characters. I mean, I know Pau Gasol is good, but come on,
was great at the time.
That's like Michael Jordan winning with like a souped up Luke Longley. Like, I mean, I know Pau was good, but let's be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest thing with them was they were just so long between him and Andrew Bynum, because
Lamar, defensively those guys could lock.
Yeah,
they had Lamar.
How Bynum was, you couldn't get near the rim on him or Powell. So wow.
But in terms of scoring load, it was a one-man show. Like, Powell would give his 20.
They had a couple spot up guys. Lamar was actually a solid player for him.
We give his 20, 18 to 22. It was a good team, but I feel like compared to other teams, it lacked talent.
Even though I was hating on them so much in 2010 when they beat the Celtics.
Why? I hated the Celtics
because they were down 10. They legitimately overcame a 10-point deficit without hitting a single field goal. It was all at the free throw line. Yeah. And they hit like 20 free throws in the last like 5 minutes of the game. Meanwhile, Big Baby Davis is getting beat up under the basket. They're just like, no.
Right.
Like, bro, you ain't Kobe.
Hey, man, certain players.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the only thing. It was just like, I've never seen a team in a game 7 overcome a deficit without actually hitting jumpers. It was all at the free throw line. It was just like, come on, man. It's like the pass interference call when Brady needs it at the end of the NFC.
I know, right? Oh my God, we'll talk about the Super
we'll
Bowl later, but for now, we can go into the boo 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 boo. It is time for the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint. And yeah, so I mean that was actually the leadoff thing, like Kobe Bryant's anniversary, but we had some pretty good reflection there. And yeah, man, just remember your greats while they're here. Look, like what LeBron's doing right now, we'll never see anything else like this ever again. So, appreciate that man while he's here. I
can't necessarily say that, but
what?
That we'll never see anything like that ever again. But
what do you mean? Tell me what we could possibly ever see that's like LeBron again. A dude who stays healthy for 20 years, putting up 25 plus every year, having his team.
Here's my only thing. It's we always say we'll never see like Jordan.
And we never do.
Jordan was playing. We'll never see another Jordan.
And we didn't.
Then it's like, well, Kobe was close. Kobe was very close.
Not really. Kobe was a Kobe, man. But no one ever says Kobe was better than Michael Jordan.
He wasn't
except for Quentin Richardson.
He wasn't as efficient as Jordan, but he was close. And then, but it's always
he wasn't even in the ballpark of efficiency as Jordan. Like Jordan was a 50% for his career.
I know. But I mean, I'm just saying it's always this. We'll never see this again. And then there's something that comes close, and that's my point.
What?
Wait, what were we talking about?
No, we were just talking about. I was basically just saying that, we always say we'll never see something again, and then we'll see something comparable, and not necessarily identical or the same or as great. But it's just I don't like making the absolute statement that we'll never see anything like this again, because 10 years down the line, there could be like Devin Booker.
Well, let me just say it like this.
Devin Booker's been 30 years.
Michael Jordan was still in the league winning championships, right?
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant popped up. In high school, people were like, yo, that dude right there, he's just like MJ. He plays like MJ. Who's that player right now that we can be like, oh, that dude's going to be the next LeBron? Zion? He's the next Charles Barkley.
No.
If even that. He better hope he can be the next Charles Barkley.
Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, especially
Luka.
With some these high school players.
Right, Luka.
Yeah, I mean, these high school players and stuff like that, you might find another guy who has that same build and body type that plays 20 years. I don't like the definitive statement. That's all I'm saying.
But
okay, man.
Even with Luka doing what he's doing,
Luka's not
got a
LeBron.
Long way to go to catch LeBron.
Because LeBron, I mean, Luka's just so damn skilled, but LeBron is a different mold of athleticism, like in will. And then the skill came along. He didn't even the skill at the beginning. Like he had some skill, but he was still able to do
passing.
Exactly, and he could pull up his little ugly jumper that got better.
God, but first.
Luka's like, to me, Luka like came in James Harden day one. Like that's like
what if Luka's
like prime James Harden day one?
What if Luka's like Tom Brady of the NBA and plays until he's 44?
I mean,
he could with the way he plays fat. Like it's not like he's in shape.
Well, he's not fast. His game doesn't rely on athleticism. It's
bro. If Luka hit the weight room, I swear he'd be crazy. But right now, he looks like he literally just hits the remote controller.
What's this do?
I'm still trying. Speaking of James Harden, I'm trying to figure out how he just dropped the weight like that.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know.
I got the Brooklyn in shape.
One of the biggest shams ever. I don't know.
He was wearing a bodysuit under his jersey.
He would go to his interviews like this. James, why do you keep holding your breath?
Right, wearing 6 sweaters and shit. It's like, what are you doing?
He was built like Uncle Phil in Houston. Then he gets traded to Brooklyn 3 days later. He's abs, 6-pack.
Right. We'll talk about that. But the first story I want to bring up though is the All-Star game was pretty much a no-go for this year. They were still going to do the voting and they're still going to do all that, but it was going to be no game. But now it appears that some people in Atlanta have got together, and I assume one of them is what's my man who's always on Coonan. Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's a part of this decision. But so they're potentially going to let them play the All-Star game at Morehouse College and put it together as some type of fundraiser for historically Black colleges. So that's just an idea they're floating out there. What do y'all think of that idea?
All right. My first question, and there's no shot at Morehouse, but there's a reason that they're doing this to help fund. I don't know if any of y'all, Micah, I know you have because you played there with me. The Morehouse gym needs a lot of love. A lot of love.
I mean, their whole facility.
Yeah.
They the one that they perform in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we went to the rec gym, Micah and I, and
I'm saying, like, what about
their team's gym is not any better, man.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you like this. My high school's gym was probably nicer than their actual gym.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. That's a high school gym compared to a college gym.
Let me look this up. Let me Google it real quick.
Yeah, I haven't been there in about a decade, so it could have gotten better. But
what's his name?
They also lost their credibility, so it's like
no, they didn't. That's why they need the fundraiser.
No, that was Morris Brown.
That was Morris Brown.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I'm seeing it. It's not spectacular by any means, but I mean,
like I mean, Georgia. It would make more sense to do it in Georgia State's gym,
right? But that's not an HBCU.
Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, you know, it's a smaller gym. You're gonna have people who want to go out, who want to come and view the festivities. I mean, that's
like the point is that people will not come and view the festivities.
I mean, people, trust me, people always come, especially women. Women flock to All-Star Weekend. So, you know, you're going to get people coming to Atlanta to witness All-Star Weekend, regardless of where it is. So you could do it at a better facility. And I get it. I guess Morehouse needs the money and so on and so forth. But, you know, it's not the best.
Can we do a fundraiser for HBCUs at State Farm?
Right, and that's what I don't get, because like they always tell you spread out, big open air environments, don't cram it in the small places. And one, you know, the AC in Morehouse's gym is probably not that great.
Oh shit, yeah.
Probably gonna just pump it all right back in there. But like, you know, a big open arena, you stand a far lesser chance to get it than you do in this very high school-esque gym with probably 2 AC units in it.
Or you could do like it with the SEC basketball, where they just do it in Phillips Arena. I'm not Phillips, but they do it in the Mercedes-Benz,
right? And
they put the courts down and do it there because it's a much bigger space, and you have a retractable roof.
Right, open it up.
I mean,
open the doors on each side, open the roof. Be like,
in that case, they could do it anywhere.
Yeah, you can get bigger gate. You can get a bigger gate number, and you can still, you know, pay off whatever you need to pay to rent out Mercedes-Benz. I'm sure Arthur Blank would allow them to do it, and then donate a portion of the rest to HBCUs.
I mean, I'm thinking that I feel what you're saying, and I definitely agree that. But I think the whole purpose of this is sort of anti-event. Like my idea for what they would think of doing this is almost to like record it on a day that's undisclosed, and then they just show it. You know what I mean? So I don't know how they would work out the fundraiser part, but basically, I guess it's the TV rights.
Bruh.
Uh,
You
but-
try to do that at an undisclosed day at Morehouse.
Hey,
Bruh,
man.
all it needs is one person to leak the day they're doing it on Twitter, and Morehouse will be so packed that day. It's gonna be like, man.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So moving on. Let's hope they don't do that. Okay, so moving on. There is another big three in the NBA. So, we in our past shows, we've sort of been talking about this developing story. I'm not even sure what we covered on our last episode. I don't think this had happened yet. But we would have never suspected that James Harden, while we were making fun of him this whole time, that he would actually get his way. And not only that, but get it in the most promising way for his future and career, which was to go to the Brooklyn Nets and team with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Unfortunately, we missed out on a lot of hysterics and funny stuff we could have talked about when Kyrie was going through his holdout. We could still talk about it. But he's been back for 4 games so far. And what I've seen so far is they've gone 2-2 in their last games. These guys cannot stop anybody like at all. And this is with KD probably taking it easy on defense as well, because he's coming back from a damn injury. So they've been looking bad in 6 of their last 7 games, which I think James has been there for all those at least. They've allowed at least 120 points. I think it was 5 out of their last 7. And man, oh man. But I will tell you, I'll let y'all give me y'all's opinion on this big three first, and then I'll come back with what I think of them.
The big three or the team in general?
Just everything about the Brooklyn Nets and their title chances. Remember we did the projections at the beginning? Have your projections changed? Is this team going to the finals? Just lay it on me. What do you think about these guys playing together?
So long as an aging, out of shape DeAndre Jordan is your main paint protector, you're not going anywhere deep enough. But this is the type of team. This is like when the Heat had their big three going on, and you had all these veterans who are like, you know what? I'm not happy where I am. Coach, cut me. And then they just go and sign for like pennies on the dollar on a team like this because they know they have a good chance. So I have a feeling that's going to happen here. They're going to be a fun team to play for.
By the deadline, or you mean next season?
By what's the deadline in
March, I think.
Yeah. So you'll see you'll probably see them get 2 or 3 veteran pieces added to their team for cheap, for real cheap. I'm not talking about trades either. I'm talking about people.
Yeah, the deadline went. That's why I was thinking the deadline wouldn't matter if it's not trades.
Yeah. So, but I mean, most of those guys are going to be cut around the deadline anyway, when teams are just they're throwing it all in. So you'll probably see it right around then. I don't know his current contract situation. I forget where he's at right now. Where is Dwight?
Dwight's with the freaking
Sixers.
Pistons? No. He's with the Sixers. Yeah.
So he wouldn't leave there, but someone along those lines before Dwight won with LA, a big man who's been pretty good, not doing anything on the team he's on, going and playing there just to chase a ring.
But they're all expensive. It's I don't even know what big man they would chase, because what's his face is locked down. Whiteside's locked down now in Sacramento doing nothing.
There's going to be some guy who's not like a top name, who's going to be second or third tier.
The Morris brothers are both locked down.
Watch it be like Jahlil Okafor or something like that.
Oh God.
I'd keep DeAndre Jordan if that was the option. Jahlil ain't never done anything, and never going to be anything.
Jalil's problem was always that he plays a style of game that he's not good enough at. Like he tries to be like Julius Randle, like Zebo type player, but he's just not good enough to do that. And he doesn't play defense. So it's like, okay.
At all.
Yeah. So what are you out here for?
Pau Gasol is going to come out of retirement to play for Brooklyn.
He's allegedly, I think, going to sign with wasn't he going to sign with the Lakers or something? Or didn't he?
Yeah, there was talks of him coming out and trying to bring his career back, and that actually might be someone who did it.
The Nets, though. I mean, that would be a good fit for Powell, I think. But he's old. I mean, he's not going to contribute.
But he would still be better than just because of how smart he is.
Yeah.
Or one of the Lopez brothers.
That's who I kept thinking.
Well, they're both. One's in Washington. I mean, he might get cut.
Robin.
He might request to get cut, and then what's his face isn't leaving Milwaukee.
Brooke.
Yeah, Brooke's not leaving Milwaukee.
But like as far as my opinion of the Nets though, I don't remember if I picked them to win the East but I think
you picked Boston. I think all y'all picked Boston.
Possibly, yeah. But I thought they'd be the number 1 seed. But I said I think Boston would come out the East. So I don't think watching them play, I don't know if that defense is ever going to get better. It's just you have 3 guys entirely too focused on the offensive side of the ball. And then a lot of the other talented role, they had to give up quite a few of the talented role players that they had just to make this possible. And
2 of which were the reason why the Cavs swept them.
yeah. And they talked about like Jared Allen is not much of a scorer, but talk about a rim defender.
Yeah, all NBA defensive player.
Oh my God, dude is amazing. And Karis LeVert, that's a guy, here's a guy that I've really, really grown
this guy's a real gunslinger.
I mean, he is one of those guys who's quietly just jumped onto my radar, and then every time I see him, it's like the more and more impressed I am with his game, the more and more I watch him. So, you lose 2 players of that caliber, and it's going to make a difference. And I don't care how much Kyrie Harden and a KD can score, it's going to hurt. And I still in the back of my mind believe that both Harden and like KD will probably be tired of both of them by the end of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Man, so I think it's interesting watching these guys play together, because when you watch them, you get the impression, and it's true, that these 3 guys on any given night could probably beat any team in the NBA. Just outscoring them, right? Because they're just so good. Like, I mean, Kyrie's like cold-blooded, like mini Kobe, like, but perhaps more efficient, like, and man, they're just also good together. But yeah, like you said, all their depth is gone, and they cannot defend anybody. I mean, Colin Sexton's a nice player, but how much is it? 42 to Colin Sexton? Like, just on sheer will and determination, and a whole bunch of their pick and roll defense is deplorable. Like, James Harden will literally get stuck behind a screen on purpose to not play defense. Kyrie's going under every time. It's like, bro, he's on fire. Why are you going under the screen? And it's like, and then KD is like, half-heartedly trying to contest at the basket or step up. And I don't know. I think the Miami Heat will give them a lot of problems at full strength, because last night that defense they were playing on the Nets was suffocating. That Bam Adebayo's length, they got this one dude number 4 on their bench so long. They'll struggle, but I still think they can make it to the finals. But like Ryan said, I think they're going to have to sign a veteran or 2 or make some type of move. But the thing is, like, at first I was like, maybe trade Kyrie. But you can't trade Kyrie, because Kyrie is so clutch. KD is so clutch. James Harden is so not clutch. So it's like
you got us for the first 3 quarters, James.
Right. You need those two. Like Kyrie, KD's automatic, but Kyrie is one of the coldest closers in the game. So they're gonna need him because I anticipate every game is gonna be close with these guys. Unless they just get lucky and blow people out. But every game has been close so far. And yeah, man, I don't know.
Did you hear what Shaq said about him?
What?
Shaq was like, they have to win a championship this year. They got all them players together. If you anything short of a championship, even making the finals is short. You got to be able to clutch. You got to be able to come up with big plays and big situations and so on and so forth. So yeah, he was just like, he said essentially was just like, y'all got the 3 of the top 10 best players in the league right now. If y'all don't win a championship, then
y'all gonna be laughing stock.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said that he expects them to get to the finals. I don't know if he went as far as saying they need to.
No. Stephen A was like, would a finals appearance would be good enough? He was like, no, it's not.
Okay, he was this was when they did. He interviewed Shaq or something.
Yeah, when he was on First Take like 2 or 3 days ago, and was like, yeah, he was like, no, you have to win a championship. You assembled that team to win a championship. So if you come up anything short of winning a championship, then it's a failure.
I mean, I think, hell yeah, it's a failure, but that's all. Anybody who doesn't win a championship failed that year. But I'd say if they don't win a championship, I wouldn't necessarily. I still think the Lakers are a better team. I mean, I don't know. I don't look at them as like just the clear cut. Oh, they're gonna, they're not the Warriors that signed KD. That was a great team. That team had depth. That team had Steph Curry.
They didn't have great depth. They
not the last year, but if they would have had a little bit of depth, they probably would have went 7 or won that against Toronto. They literally had no depth by the end. But the 2 teams that first swept and then gentlemen swept, those teams had Sean Livingston, Andre. They had David West. They had all these really good vets on their teams. And they had Quinn Cook sucked, but he was there too. They had young Looney. They just had a lot. You can't tell me those teams weren't deep. Yeah, the last season, I'll say, because all their deep players, Sean Livingston was trash, Andre was trash the last season, but towards the end, but they were deep. Early.
Yeah, but look, Brooklyn isn't terrible as far as depth.
What?
Joe Harris is
he's a starter. That's not depth.
He's now a starter.
Oh wow. Wait. Oh, they're starting him at the 3 and what's the name at the 4. But I get it, but at the same time, you have 3 of the top 10 players in the league. So I get what Shaq is saying. It's like, Harden has this reputation of coming up short. Kyrie, when he's been the leader on the team, that team has come up short. KD had to go to play with Steph and them to win a championship now. So all of them have this kind of stipulation around them that they need others to, like, other clutch players to win that championship. And really, I think Harden's the one that has the most to prove, because he hadn't even gotten to a final since he was in OKC. So, he's the one who really needs to step his game up and learn how to hit a shot in the last 5 minutes of the game instead of turning the ball over left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess now he doesn't necessarily need to. That's the thing. He's point Harden.
But they all need to step up, and that's what Shaq was saying. Like he even told Spider Mitchell that he was like,
he was wrong about that though.
Huh?
But he doesn't have the it factor.
They were wrong when they went at Donovan though. I think they're incorrect by saying that Donovan doesn't impact the game on every level, because he's the best player on the team that's good. Like he led his team as a rookie, led his team to a second round playoff. I mean, that's more than Westbrook could do. It's more, you know what I mean? I think it was wrong for them to.
No, but I get what Shaq was doing. He was like, as a player, I look at these guys and I want to push them to get to that next level.
And I would, if I were there, I would have asked him like, yo, so would you say that about D Wade? Like I feel like Donovan is very comparable to D Wade. D Wade maybe had more blocks. Yeah, I'll give him that. He had more blocks, but I mean, both guys like a 5-5 on other stats kind of guy. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but D Wade also took over a finals. So and that's
yeah, but he played with Shaq.
Yeah, but like I said, if Shaq knew that finals, I'm deferring to D Wade, and he took over and won them that finals.
Yeah. So, well, speaking of James Harden and these guys, I just want to do it. Last week I had this story about Karis LeVert. So we all heard the news that Karis LeVert, who we were earlier talking about, had a lump on his kidneys, and that lump ended up being cancerous. So we all found out he was going to be out for the foreseeable future, and it's looking rough for Indiana up there. After Sabonis just got hurt, he's gone. They don't have a shooting guard. T.J. Warren's hurt. So it's been rough for them. But I wanted to throw this in. So James Harden actually potentially saved Karis LeVert's life with his insistence of getting traded because so when he got traded, apparently Karis LeVert went to Houston, but it wasn't until Houston sent him to Indiana that I guess they had always been doing physicals on him, but they had never done the in-depth physical on the lower part of his back. So if he didn't go to Indiana, he would have never known that he had that lump on his kidneys, and therefore he would have never, the early detection was key. So he actually just got surgery today. So, prayers up to him. Hopefully he can come back soon, or, at least just focus on health.
Right.
But hopefully he can play again. And yeah, man, that was a cool little part of that. So go ahead.
I got something that I remember talking about the other day, and actually we can say this till after Hawks talk.
Okay. All right. And real quick, if I can share my screen, I just want to take a look at these standings real quick before we get into. I want to do this every show.
You can already do it.
I can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I gotta make this big. Share screen.
Oh, what's up, Gary Payton and Dominic?
This is gonna get us flagged. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at these standings real quick. The number one team in the Eastern Conference right now is the Philadelphia 76ers. And we got the Celtics, the Bucks, the Pacers, the Nets, the Hawks, the Cavs, and the Knicks in that order. Any surprises from the East for you?
Mike, I know you want to talk about number 8 though. I know you want to talk about that 8th seed.
Oh man, yeah. So in one of my group chats with some of my guys I went to high school with, one of them's from New York. So one of the other boys was like, "Man, the Knicks is balling." He was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Bruh, they 8-8." So, they got the number one. They got the number one defense in the league, though. I was like, "Bruh, let's check in 56 more games and see if they're still the number one defense in the league."
Right.
16 games in, you're the number one defense in the league. Ooh, big whoop. 56 games from now, let's see if you can hold that title up.
And I think they had one of the easier schedules ranking wise. I think the Hawks were like maybe number 10, but I think they were top 5 in their easy schedule ranking. Whereas teams like Golden State were like the far super tough. But yeah, man. What about you, Ryan? Anybody? Just more. Who y'all think is gonna stay in this, and who's coming out? Like, so you got some of these teams down here that are. Let's see, Miami Heat, for instance. You would imagine they're probably going to be in the playoffs. They're in the 13th spot right now. But then you have the Cavs, the Knicks, and sorry to say it, but the Hawks in this mix right here. So who of these teams are going to fall out, and which of these teams are coming in?
Firstly, I would like to say I love the fact that now just about in every sport, you can't trust any New York team anymore. They're pretty much the epitome of anti-clutch and of fake front runners. But I would say of the teams that are in not in the playoffs. I think that's what I'll rather pick. Teams not in the playoffs that I see making a move down the stretch is obviously the Heat, but I would say the Charlotte Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, LaMelo, he's looking nice, man. He's looking like he might be the best player in this draft by far.
He's like top 20 in steals, or it might even be top 10 in steals. Still leaves a little to let's pull up LaMelo stats real quick, just while we're on that.
Here's the funny thing though. Yeah, you keep trying to get us flagged.
I know. Sorry.
Click that plus button.
I can't get to it because this thing's in my way.
Oh.
Nah, but here's the funny thing though with LaMelo. LaMelo's playing so well, and he's pushing Terry Rozier to the point where Terry Rozier is having one of the better seasons of his career. It's just like I can't lose to the Rook.
I mean, so as I expected, he's been about the same, but I think his impact is definitely just on his feel for the game and his steals. Like he's a real heady player, but Gordon Hayward is the reason. I would have thought you would have said that. Gordon Hayward has been playing like an MVP.
Well, yeah. Though Rozier and Hayward are like the guys that you kind of, more so Hayward, but not to this level. You are right about that. But LaMelo, I think, will have the most impact in why this team will go from a 7-10 team to a plus like 7-10 team in their record because he's not starting yet.
Right.
And once he, the Hornets go, you know what? All right, let's move some of you other guys that are more scorers, like a Rozier and what's their starting point guard? The guy from Kansas.
Devontae Graham.
Yeah, Devontae Graham.
Then let me not get too crass, but he's been playing pretty badly.
Right. So move him to the bench.
Very poorly.
Get more run against the second unit so he looks better, and let LaMelo be on the court longer.
Right. I almost like LaMelo at point, Rozier at the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just even though Rozier is too small to guard anybody at the 2, but LaMelo's big enough to handle that. So you're saying Charlotte and Miami will come in for who? These two? You think the Hawks are making it still?
Yeah, I think we're gonna continue to improve because we're gonna get healthier. We just have too much talent. It'll click. We'll start to gel. I think expect to see Cleveland and New York fall out of the bottom.
Right. And just while we were on, you were talking about LaMelo. I do want to shout out Halliburton. That dude has been playing incredible over there in Sacramento. I think he's still leading rookies in scoring. And Patrick Williams from the Chicago Bulls might end up being the best player in this draft because he's already a stopper on defense, averaging like 12 points per game.
Yeah.
And consistently when he's not even like a third option or fourth option on that team. So I think that's impressive. And Cole Anthony out here hitting game-winning shots. Yeah. So, Micah, who do you think is going to move in and who's moving out?
I think the Heat. I think the Heat will be moving. That other. I think. Knicks are definitely Knicks are no.
You don't believe in RJ Barrett and Julius Randle?
Stop it.
The big two.
Stop it. That's blasphemous. That's ass a 9, ass a 10. No, so I think Knicks are done. Knicks are coming out. I think Cleveland's gonna fall. And I can see either Charlotte or either Orlando battling and trying to steal that eight seed again. Because like Cole Anthony been balling, and I mean he's been clutch for him down the stretch. Now granted, got a long way to go, but I didn't know what to expect for him, especially in Orlando, but he's looked really good in that role. But Miami definitely, once they start getting healthier, and because they went on that long run last year, I think they'll start to make some noise. They'll go on a tear, and they'll probably finish somewhere around the 5-6 seed, probably.
I'm surprised no one says Indiana's falling out. They're literally, it's a bonus, just got hurt, and they don't have a shooting guard.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just Brogdon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was another team I looked at, but I didn't really mention. I think that they'll probably struggle, and so
he's only gonna be out for a little bit.
Huh?
That's a bonus. How long?
Yeah. I know the X's are negative, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I think they could fall down, and potentially be fighting for the 8th seed themselves.
No love for the Raptors, the Tampa Bay Raptors.
Nah. I think you might see a little off season for them.
Yeah. I think having Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry as your starting backcourt is detrimental to wins.
Well, Lowry keeps getting older. And it's just like, all right, well, we're just going to keep running with this. It's worked the past 15 years. Let's keep going with it.
And Siakam has been like shooting career lows for a short career, but he's been playing pretty bad. All right, and then just moving on to the Western Conference real quick. A little more, as usual, it seems like there's some better teams here, 1 through 10. You see anybody? What about Utah? Do you think Utah is going to keep this up and stay a top 4, top 3 team almost?
No. It's like Mike Conley. I've always been a fan of Mike Conley, but he's always gotten these nagging injuries, and he's going to start missing games, which will affect their team. Rudy Gobert gets banged up. So I think, will they be a playoff team? Yes, but I'm thinking more around the 6-ish range, and not top 3.
Yeah.
And I find there's some crazy. So Phoenix has been sort of disappointing, and I know Booker's missed a couple games with a hamstring, at least 2 games. Memphis, I don't know how they're still in the playoff mix after Ja missed so many games. I don't know how. When I look at their roster, I'm like, yo, and Triple J's not playing. I'm like, who is on this team? Dylan Brooks leading them to some.
Hey, Dylan Brooks be balling, man.
So who would y'all say is moving in and moving out in this?
I'll say for one, Golden State's going to move up. I think as bad as Kelly Oubre has played, I think Steph has been absolutely balling. Wiseman has quietly been a very, very solid rookie for him. I mean, he's averaging somewhere around 14, 15 points a game, and gives them rim protection. Now, granted, they just if Kelly Oubre can finally remember how to actually shoot. He went from Kelly Oubre to Markelle Fultz, and once he figures out how to shoot again, they'll definitely, their offense will pick up and be more rounded, and they'll start to go on a little tear, and they could potentially finish around 4 or 5. But if he still, like, right now, I'd put money on myself in a shootout with Kelly Oubre, and that's saying something. I'm not an NBA caliber player, but I might be able to outshoot him the way he's been shooting lately.
Right.
I think my Dallas Mavericks are underperforming.
Yeah, they are.
I could see them moving up, but the LA teams look like they're on a different level than everyone else. Like, even when they play other good teams. So I fully expect this conference to pretty much stay as it is. Dallas will probably move up. Memphis might run out of gas here, because Ja's probably still out for a little while longer, right? Oh, he is back now? Okay. Thank God, because that when he went down, I thought he tore his ankle.
Looked bad.
I thought for sure he was done. But
No OKC.
Ah.
They're a scrappy team, but
Shai's putting
man,
up
I'd
really good
say
numbers. He might get a most improved this year, maybe.
It's SGA.
Dallas is the only one that I could see moving
SGA
up.
about to average a triple double.
Right.
Oh, Russ wanted out of here.
Man, the Pelicans are bad.
That's what I was just looking at. Like, how do you have that much talent?
I think the problem was they should have went for a stretch 5, but when they added Steven Adams, now they start him. It puts Zion in such a weird situation because Zion can't shoot,
no sense.
Steven Adams can't shoot, and then it's like this messes up the spacing.
I called this, but whatever.
Yeah, completely messes up the spacing. Yeah, so I think I don't know. Maybe Phoenix falls out, Memphis falls out.
The Timberwolves are another team.
They've had strange
Cat
circumstances.
hasn't been playing. Yeah.
Cat was hurt, then he got COVID, and now D'Lo's hurt, and what's his name is
Edwards is trash.
Yeah, oh my god, that boy. All he can do is try to dunk on people. That's it. He is so off. Like, oh man, he's a lot like Markelle Fultz in that sense. Like,
yeah,
number 1 pick that really cannot generate any offense. Man, so let's talk a little Hawks.
Hawks talk.
Hawks talk. Let me pull up this real quick. So the Hawks right now, just to give people a little perspective of where we are at right now. The Hawks are 8-8. They have won 3 of their last 4. They're currently in a game right now against the Clippers. I would go over there and check the score, but I do not want to get flagged. And so we missed some episodes where we were going to talk about the downturn they were on and, Trey's struggles, if they were a cause for concern, how much of a freaking beast Clint Capella has been, the improvement of DeAndre Hunter. So I don't know. It's still hard to read this team because I feel a lot of times when we play teams, all their players are resting or something.
Right. I had that weird string of that.
It's almost like the NBA wants Trae Young to be good. But right. But so what do y'all think of this team so far? We've been battling injuries, but DeAndre Hunter just dropped 30 the other night. He's looking really good. Like he's coming along really good. Cam's still looking like Cam. Trae Young has been looking better, getting back to the line. So just talk me through what y'all thinking about the Hawks right now.
I'll take it. I mean, it's hard to say. It's one of those things. Clint Capella looks to be like such a great investment. It makes such a big difference. Like when who did we lose to the other night? Not Brooklyn.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee. And we lost about double digits, but I'm like, wait, Trey and Capella weren't playing,
right?
And you saw how badly we got out rebounded, and you got outshot because your best shooter is not playing, but Capella, like that Detroit game. Now, granted, Detroit isn't a great team. They're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, but 27-26.
Right.
I don't remember the last time we had a big who put up those kind of numbers in a game.
It was Tree Rollins, if you could believe that.
Really?
Yeah. And that lets you know how it's been. So, it rebounding, he gives us rim protection, and now that Okongwu is healthy again, now we legitimately have 2 bigs who can protect the rim. And now, granted, I mean, neither one of them are, I'm gonna go out and get you 25 a game, but with Trey, with the way Trey moves the ball, and can put up points and create for others, I mean, they're going to get some points, some alleys, and Rondo can set up players too. So yeah, I think I like the direction we're going in. To me, I just think we have to get healthy for the most part.
All right. So hear me out before you react. And you know what? I'm going to take this full screen. Stop that sharing real quick, Marco, because you need to see my face when I say this.
All right, hold on. Oh, damn it. Switching up. How do I get back to that?
You know what?
Yeah, here we go. Stop share.
So, hear me out. The Hawks are the most complete team in the Eastern Conference right now. If you talk about filling all of your needs and all the pieces that make a great team, the Hawks have it. The Hawks have not been healthy. The Hawks are still gelling because we have, just like Conti told us, 9 new contributing faces to our lineups. So chemistry is something that is very important in basketball because not everyone plays their position exactly the same. You can fill pieces on the baseball field, and chemistry isn't that big of an issue. You can fill pieces on a football team. Chemistry matters, but not quite as much as basketball because you play so much. And the Hawks, that's their one missing piece right now is the chemistry. So this Hawks team will get better. The Hawks are, like we said at the beginning of the season, 2 deep at every position, sometimes 3 deep at certain positions. And it's not like, this guy can come in and he'll be pretty good for us. No, you can put a second unit in that can beat other teams. You can put a third unit in that you could feel comfortable having multiple scoring options in. Now, losing Bogdan, excuse me, not Boban, not the
Bogdan, Boban.
one of the Bows. Losing Bogdan hurt. The good news is he won't be out for the whole season, it seems. So he will be coming back probably for the playoff run, is what it sounds.
Probably sooner, honestly.
Really? They've upped it.
Yeah, I think it's sooner than that.
Good. So because we need more time with him, because he needs more time with these lineups, because he looked the worst out of all of our acquisitions thus far. Mm-hmm. So the Hawks will probably, their record won't look as good just because we're going to take a while to gel. We've had so many long-lasting injuries. We've had a lot of guys that go down and not really get that chemistry going with us. So we're going to probably look at about a 500 team for a good majority of the season until that really starts to click. But that's fine because 500 gets you in the playoffs in the NBA more than likely. Mm-hmm. Just get us there. We haven't been there in a long time. But we got enough talent that we can go in, as an 8 or maybe not an 8 seed because Milwaukee's really, really good. But like as a 7 seed, we could probably pull off an upset.
I don't think Milwaukee's going to be the number 1 seed.
You think it's going to be the Nets?
The Sixers or the Nets or even Boston. I think all those teams will probably have a better chance. I mean, Milwaukee added Drew Holiday. I mean, I know Drew Holiday is good and stuff, but
I'm not fearing the 76ers in the first round of the playoffs.
I'm just saying, but you said that if we got an 8th seed, I'd say I don't think we'd be playing Milwaukee.
We'll probably finish around 5 to 7, somewhere in there.
Right.
But I would have faith in us. Depending how the stretch goes, if we stay healthy, and that we do gel, because teams don't always gel, especially when you have this many additions. Some players just don't play well with others. Bogdan may not play well with Trey, even though people expected him to.
That's why I think I said this, but he should be second unit with Rondo. I was like, that's the best fit for him.
I'm really tired of this camera not focusing on me. I'm right here. I'm not back there.
I know, right? You look like you're blurring.
Like it's every whoop. There I go.
You have a nice fuzz to your face, like it's like one of those beauty filters. But anyway, so I think that the Hawks, I think it's really encouraging. Not only are we 8-8, which is good, not good, but it's good for being 6th place. But I think it's encouraging that if you look at, our, all the ratings and all the, statistics, we're pretty much middle in the pack in everything, if not, better than middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we've seen a good example of what the Hawks are. And just with that, even being at low strength, that's not terrible. Mm-hmm. We're not a terrible team. We don't really get blown out that often. Sometimes it comes down to the youth getting that win. And at the end of the season, I know a lot of those things could cost us to be missing that 1 to 2 games we might need. But at the same time, I like our chances of staying in this mix because the East is thinning out on the bottom. And I think it's really encouraging. I mean, we have Trey, and I like what John Collins has been doing. He's gotten better at defense. Mm-hmm. I still don't know if he's worth a max deal. He hasn't proven that to me yet, but he just needs to be more impactful.
He's turned into quite the stretch four.
Yeah, his shooting is out of this world now. I think he's a really good player. I really like for a 19th pick that we got him in the year after the last time we made the playoffs. He's been, a really good investment. And I hope, he gets his money wherever, I hope the best for John Collins.
Hopefully it's here.
Hopefully it's here.
Max.
Right. Hopefully when he tests the market that, there's some bounce back, some pushback.
A max deal in Sacramento or something.
I know, right? Or Charlotte. Or
I think they got too many high price, but it's going to be somewhere where he's just going to fall off the. He might maybe they'll pair him up with Cat in Minnesota, and
that's one of the worst places. I'd say Utah. Utah could use him a lot. I'd say
the only reason I say that is just because I think of a team that's so desperate to try to get a name to make the playoffs that they'll spend that money. And I think Minnesota is that desperate. They want to jump from,
from average, 14th seed to 10th seed.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think they have the talent when healthy with D'Lo and Cat that they
people be overrating the hell out of D'Lo.
Well, no. I don't think they're a playoff team. But I think that if they're they'll be 9th, 10th, once all of them get healthy, you put Collins in there. You match that with John Collins, it could sneak them into an 8th seed.
Who's gonna play center though? Cat don't want to play center.
He don't have to.
Who? John Collins? Who's gonna play center?
Cat, you big 7-footer. You'll get your big 5 under that basket.
No, man. Minnesota is doomed for the foreseeable future, especially with their draft pick. They were banking on that kid to be good, but they're going to be right back there. They can maybe get Cade Cunningham, or I don't know who else is going to be good out of college. But
here's the one thing I will say about Edwards, as in, I can't completely, shit on him because he is an Atlanta native, but he could very well be like Cam Reddish was.
No, Cam Reddish is better than Anthony Edwards.
No. Cam, when he first got here, was terrible. And it was he couldn't shoot. He was blowing layups and stuff like that. And then as the season went on, he got more comfortable to the speed of the game. And then you started to see okay, all right, we didn't waste that pick. Okay, good. Good. And I think as the season goes on, I think he'll adjust more. Now, granted, will he be as good as Cam? I don't know. Don't think so. But I think he'll get better the more he plays.
He just got to figure out what his role is, man, because he cannot shoot. He is not a shooter. So what is he going to do?
Shooting.
That's an adjustment a lot of those wing players struggle with in college. They go college to pros, and the extra distance in the 3-pointer and stuff, it just makes a difference.
But the thing about him at Georgia, he was taking the shots. He was just missing them there too.
Well, he wasn't a knockdown. He was never a knockdown, but
Like he was pulling up from far as hell in college. But he was still missing.
I mean, that's
But-
the style. That's the style for young kids nowadays. It's the AAU culture.
I don't care how much I miss. I saw some interview where he was just so hella confident. He's like, I've been A1 since day one. It's like he's like, I can do anything, no matter what I do. I'm gonna be great at it. It's like I can fight. You saw that interview?
Hockey, golf, don't matter. Tennis,
I've been A1 since day one. I was like,
lacrosse. I'll pick it. Don't matter.
quotable A1 since day one.
I'm an athlete.
But yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I think we took the right. The difference between Cam and that guy is that I feel like Cam looked more situationally immature. Like it was like, okay, on the fast break, he looked like, okay, get your head together. Don't get stripped on the fast break. Like, okay, that's not a good shot right there. If you shoot it back here, you'll hit it. But I feel like Anthony Edwards, I don't know. It's like I don't feel like anything about his game looks rushed. It doesn't look like he's taking horrible shots. He's just not making them, like because he just can't.
He's got a long way to go in improving his shooting before he can make an impact in the NBA.
But we've seen them. Well, I won't say I won't compare him to LeBron, but LeBron learned how to shoot, and
I don't know what you got against LeBron, man, but you talk about you can't even have them in the same sentence right now. You can't.
I legitimately said nothing negative about. I just said LeBron learned how to shoot, and I wasn't comparing Anthony Edwards to him. That's what I said.
I'm not drawing any parallel here, but just to say LeBron.
Well, I mean,
right. If LeBron could do it, LeBron is one of the greatest ever.
As a bigger wing player whose game was more based off of physical ability. Yes, he learned how to shoot, and I think
Anthony Edwards is like 6'5". LeBron's like 6'8", 6'9".
But his game is more based off of just sheer physical ability. If he puts the time in, he can learn how to shoot.
Okay. But so y'all still think the Hawks confidently as a playoff team?
Yeah.
Cool. So that.
No, it doesn't. Remember?
What?
So
you had something to.
I had posted something on our Instagram a couple of weeks ago when I was watching a game the other night, and just watching, Indiana and Sabonis, and then thinking about what level Sabonis kind of falls, like what ranking Sabonis falls at, but actually how skilled he is, made me really think about what type of era we're in the NBA. How much skill is actually in the NBA right now for us to call players like, Russell Westbrook slaw,
trash.
To have someone like a Dame Lillard and be like, oh, he's like the third best point guard and he'll probably never win. Like if you were to drop Dame in another era, what era?
I mean, we've seen Dame type players before.
Yeah.
Jerry West, Oscar, the ones you've heard about.
Gilbert Arenas was very much like Dame,
but
not quite Dame.
I mean, Dame is an all-time great too. He's on like a 30-point, like 6-7 game 30-point streak right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, here's the thing: some of the shots that some of these guards and stuff take nowadays, you wouldn't have been able to take them in other eras, and that's the only thing I'd say. Like, Dame coming a step past half court and firing up a three.
But don't get me wrong, though, that would have worked in the 80s on some of those Doug Moe teams. There's certain teams that like you can't. It's like you said about being definitive. You can't say that it never, because there were times when it was literally just step cross half court and shoot a shot. That was in the 80s when they were like scoring 140 points a game.
I mean, I won't say that it wouldn't work, but what I will say is with the more like the value was on good shots. mid range was seen as a good shot because it's not too far. It's a difficult shot, but it's not extremely difficult. But when you're crossing half court, you're talking about basically half court shots that like most coaches be like, timeout, take a seat right here. Don't ever shoot that shot again. And that's what I'm saying. It's just the era is different. Now they allow it because the three-pointer is seen as the better shot because of analytics has entered the game.
Yeah, I think the difference is that your point guard wasn't always you got players like, like we already mentioned, the combo guard is what Dame is. Yeah. Like the Jerry West, the Oscar, even if you want to talk about AI, Tiny Archibald in his prime, Isaiah, where you can they can give you 25 to 30 points per game. You know what I mean? And because whoever's scoring 25 to 30 points per game in any era is going to take shots that you would consider bad.
Right.
That's just what it is.
Well, I mean, like, what's his name? The one one of the ones that I believe was like that, the NBA banished him, Mahmoud. That was bad.
Oh, yeah.
He was a bad boy, but, he got banished from the NBA, so.
Right, and he was one of the first, just like a nasty off the dribble. But I think people have been shooting off the dribble forever, but maybe just not as pretty as how Steph does it and how Mahmoud did it. Yeah, as efficiently. Like you said, and there is something to where you're saying, like, yeah, they wouldn't have been taking the shots. I don't think he would have been given the reins to the offense like he is now. But then that's not to say if he played on a bad team in the 80s or in the early 90s, he probably would have been the same thing.
Just shoot it.
Because
he started pulling up from there and hitting them consistently.
Yeah,
they'd be like,
good to go.
I don't know. I still know some old school coaches to be like, I don't care how many times you hit that shot, it's still a bad shot, son.
Imagine him being on George Karl's offense in the 80s.
Right.
He'd have fit in perfectly.
And I think the issue with Dame where he doesn't get the respect, where people still put him at third, is because, like, you look at Steph before he had KD, before he had a super team, because him and Clay was not a super team. He was able to lead his team regardless. I mean, of course, you have Steve Kerr, you have pieces, but he was able to lead his team to like a number 1, number 2 seed. I don't think Dame has been able to. He's always like 6 to 8, 5 to 8 with his seeding. It's always like it's almost they did just enough to get in the playoffs. It's never like, you know what I mean? They don't win dominantly with him as the best player.
My biggest problem with that team in general is the flaw of you have the 2 undersized combo guards, which, I mean, they can put up points, but you're giving up points on the other end of the floor, and that's where a lot of their problems come, is because Dame might score 42 and CJ might score 30, but they're probably giving up 70 between the 2 guards they're guarding too. So
right. Same with Kyrie. Like, that's that Kyrie method. Like, oh, well, he's gonna score 42. Well, I dropped 38. It's like, yeah, but you gave up 42.
But the biggest thing that really made me think, wow, this era is incredible, is the amount of skilled big men that we have. You go from like Giannis, you go to what's his face, Jokic, then you go to Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. Like, Karl Anthony Towns is an ungodly athletic 7-footer.
Porzingis.
Like, Kristaps, like
Sabonis.
The heartless wonder, Joel Embiid.
Right.
Joel, even Julius.
Joel could thrive in another era because he's built for it. He's got that size. But he can also step out to the Micah. No, I don't care what you say.
Physically, yes, but that lack of heart is what the one thing that's always bothered me with Embiid. When he gets bullied down.
Embiid's also gotten some really bad draws in the playoffs where it's just like Embiid versus the world.
Yeah.
He would have. I feel like his attitude's comparable to someone like Sean Kemp or something. I don't think everybody was super tough back then, but
no.
Well, no. It's just as a legit center, you know what teams would do, because teams like that they preyed on the weaker minded guys,
yeah.
and they like to get physical. Like
Karl Malone would have dogged his ass out. David Robinson.
And it's like, hey, I'm
Jack.
just every time I'm just bumping the hell out you every time. You know, like they go like Gary Payton said he thought he did the Michael Jordan. Man, I'm just banging the fuck out of him every time.
Right.
See how he responds.
But but that's not to say, I think there were maybe like 2 or 3 centers that shot in Shaq's time. But Vlade Diva Vlade Diva didn't shoot threes, did he?
Sabonis could shoot a little bit. Vlade couldn't
threes, but he could
mid-range.
Mid-range.
Yeah.
Mid-range. So I think Joel Embiid was able to space Shaq in a way that wasn't done. Even though Joel Embiid's not a great 3-point shooter.
Imagine dropping
He's willing
Jokic
to take it
into that era though.
Oh my god, yeah,
You said who?
The big Jokic.
Oh yeah.
They'd have been like
Jokic would definitely, because that his lack of speed wouldn't have mattered in that era.
He's like Larry Bird with the way he can get off his shot.
Exactly.
I don't think people understand. Like, I feel like I was having this conversation with my friend, and I was like, "Yeah, Larry Bird was like a forward. That dude was 6'10". He was like, "No, he wasn't. Larry Bird was like 6'7". I'm like, "No, Larry Bird was tall as shit, bro. Like, Larry Bird lied about his height so he didn't have to be a forward. You know what I mean? But he was huge. Like, yeah, Jokic shot would have his game would have translated in any.
It's like
era.
Kevin Durant. Yeah, I'm 6'8".
I do think Jokic would have not been able. I think it's just you wouldn't have had your center handling the ball like he does, though.
Yeah, like Kevin Durant, though.
Well, I mean, even still, though, like depending on the offense, like the triangle was very prevalent back then. So, I mean, you run a lot of the triangle principles are run through a big. So
Jokic in a triangle.
Yeah, he would have killed that. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it would. Dude, that could be amazing. So yeah, I could see them doing that, and with his court vision and his ability to handle back to the basket, the fadeaway, dude would have been an elite center back in the day
for sure.
And the last thing I'll say on this before we close this out, because I know this could go forever, but I really appreciate where we are in the NBA with that level of competition and the influx of Europeans and other countries, because it forces teams to play hard. You know, now superstars are doing the Kawhi thing like we were talking about before, and they just take their nights off. But when they're on the court, man, they're playing hard. Mm-hmm. And because that level of competition has risen, you now got to play harder longer to make the playoffs, because you ain't no guarantee you're going to walk into the playoffs, you know, with just talent. Because, I mean, as talented as the Nets are, they're 2-2. We've seen
there's a few teams I still think are talented enough to just walk. And
the Lakers,
both of the LA teams,
yeah.
I believe they're not worried about it. They know they have enough talent that they'll make it. But you know, for the most part, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Though you gotta grind to make it,
especially out west, man.
Yeah. We'll see more about the Clippers, though, because they still have a gaping hole. They don't have a point guard, and they really don't have a defensive center. So that's going to prove bad. That's costly against the Lakers, especially. But you're right; they might be able to just because PG is definitely better than he was last season.
They need a shooting guard.
Yeah. They need a point guard.
They need a shooting guard.
PG and Kawhi are your shooting guard, and you're 3. You're 2.
Kawhi's your 3. You need a shooting guard.
Lou Williams.
Oh man, but what was it? Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, if you want to see the gems of Luka's start, go look up Sasha Doncic. Like his dad, they have some highlights of his dad playing. It's like a version of Luka made out of rock. It's like,
oh really?
Yeah, he's just like big, stocky guy. And I mean, he had a little bit of the off the dribble stuff though. Like you can see where Luka sort of got that from. But I mean, he was nowhere near as good as Luka. But I think he picked up some trophies and stuff.
That's European though. A lot of that is the European game.
Right.
There, even though Dirk was a 7 foot and became a power forward, you know, remember, he was a small forward who could handle the ball when he first came in the league as well. So
yeah,
you know, it's the way they play in Europe. So
for sure. So thus begins the end of the of the segment.
Let's take a break. Let's take a quick breather and then talk some football and some baseball on the other side and then wrap it on up.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all on the other side.
Resume recording.
It looks like the Hawks are going to pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, they're way ahead. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back from the break, guys and gals. I'm ready to talk some football, man. There's been a lot going on in this town that we really haven't had the chance to talk about. And I got lots to say, like always. I don't know what accent it was. I started to go into one and then changed my mind and like half did it.
It sounded like British, and then he went into like, you know, like a feminine Southern man.
I don't know what I would do.
Like always.
The effeminate guy from Family Guy. Hey, Peter, got my ass.
That's exactly who that sounded like. Oh no.
Oh no.
I totally forgot about that guy. So if you haven't heard, the Chiefs and the Buccaneers
Wait. Is your mic right?
No, it's not. I did it again. I'm gonna keep it going this time though. Sorry those who are listening at home.
I'm outside on my headset and forgot to switch back to my actual microphone. So the Buccaneers and the Chiefs will be playing in Super Bowl 55. You guys watch the games, right?
Yep.
I think we can all agree that the Chiefs pretty much handled the Bills from the very beginning. Looked like the better team. Walked out of there looking like the team that was favored to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season.
Rumor has it that we missed last week's episodes because Ryan's picks were so bad.
Oh, 0-4. Oh my God, man. I don't think I've ever done that before in my life. It was like, let me go with what I want to happen instead of what I think's going to happen. And that's what I did.
He said Browns versus the Ravens, and then and then who was it? The Saints versus the Rams. The Rams was the most surprising pick, and I saw someone else in the comments pick the Rams. So I'm like, y'all know he doesn't have a thumb, right?
I figured that defense was going to play a lot better than they did, man. And they just didn't get it
and
done.
Aaron Donald's ribs were collapsed when you picked that. It's not like it was a new thing.
Yeah, but you know, he's a super person, so I figured a good old cortisone shot in the ribs and he was good to go. Yeah, God, I forgot about that. But I did not forget to go back and annotate that I did go.
You did.
I lived up.
Much respect.
But
like, does he watch football?
Does he know who these teams are? He does our football segment? Yeah, yikes. That was brutal. And I'll take the heat. I'll take it right on the chin, man. I'll own that one. That was just awful. But the Buccaneers and the Packers played as well. And That game ended quite contested. It was a hold. He grabbed his jersey, he pulled it. There's no arguing that. What people are arguing is the fact that you did not call that all game long.
Twice on egregious penalties that the Packers should have got. Where dudes were literally like it's like you look at the ref and your shoulder pad is off and you're like, where's my PI?
Can I get a little bit of PI?
Like tugging their jerseys all game.
And then at the biggest point of the game, you call it?
Yeah.
It's that Tom penalty.
Well, I mean, even still, like I sent you that video earlier. Their right tackle was holding what's his name on the play. It was a hold behind the line of
literally
scrimmage.
Hugging him.
Yeah, he got what's the guy from Michigan that they drafted?
Rashawn Gary.
Rashawn Gary got the edge on the right tackle, and he basically did the wrap you around the neck and hold you, hug you from behind, and they didn't call it. That's the only reason Brady got that pass off. Otherwise, Rashawn Gary would have ate Brady's lunch on that play.
Right.
It's just, and the fact that to throw that flag one is bad, but to throw it 5 seconds after the play was dead and no one else threw the flag.
After he walked over to him, complained a little bit, then it flew out of nowhere. You're like,
it was like Brady. It was like Brady gave him the stink eye. You know what your job's supposed to be, son.
Not only him, I feel like he got the headphones just started yelling at him. It was like, throw the fucking flag. Throw the fucking flag.
You know I'm supposed to win this game.
Oh man.
Every voice on the PA was like, because I feel like, I don't know, Brady always gets those weird penalties. Even when he paid D Ford that one time to line up off.
Oh, D Ford.
Oh man.
Oh, D Ford. But
yeah, Aaron should have ran. Let's be real. That could have.
Well, but no. Here's it. This is what I told my coworker. I said for the Packers to run the ball as well as they have all season, they averaged over 4 yards a carry against Tampa.
The number one run defense.
Every time they got inside the red zone, all pass plays. They never even tried to run the ball inside the 10. And it's like, this is one of the reasons why you were so hard to stop all year.
Well, they tried to a couple times. I remember they tried to run it. I can recall at least once where they tried to run it on first and second down.
They were
stopped.
There were two major possessions I remember specifically where they went three pass plays and then wound up kicking field goals. One possession, they went 3 straight plays to Devontae Adams.
I remember that.
And wound up getting a field goal out of it because one of them he dropped and the other two he was in double and triple coverage, so you shouldn't have been throwing to him in the first place. And then the last possession, I mean, yeah, he should have run on third down, but it's like 16. You ran the ball 16 times, averaging 4 yards a carry. The Tampa is not a run heavy team. They ran it 24. They had 24 total carries. So Matt LaFleur pulled a Kyle Shanahan.
More like a DQ. I wouldn't even give him that much credit.
Well, no, but that's what. But
Shanahan's done it twice now, man.
That's what Kyle Shanahan. He got away from the run game, and it wound up coming back to haunt him, and that's the problem.
But I feel like they never. The only reason I say is I feel like they never even really went with the run game. It's like, the turning point of that game was when Aaron Rodgers threw that pick. And then Tom Brady came back and scored before halftime. That was the end of the game. Like, they never recovered from that, really.
Brady gave him opportunities, and
he sure did. 3 picks.
Yeah, he gave them several opportunities to get back in that game, But like I said, the play calling, it's like, dude, you need more balance. Like you have to try to run because at least it can open up play action because your receivers aren't good enough just to line up across from that secondary and just beat them out of 5 wide. We saw that way too many times. And you're inside the 10 running 5 wide several times inside the 10 where
with no motion to it either.
Exactly. And spacing is already tight inside in that scenario.
He was like, "Go ahead, MVP. Show them
they're a physical press set of corners. Their top 3 corners love to press.
Exactly. So it's like, all right, LaFleur, you've coached great up until this point, but when you needed to make the smartest decisions, you turned into Kyle Shanahan all over again.
But the difference also is that I feel like Kyle Shanahan was playing cocky. They were playing scared because they saw that first of all, they were chasing points. They didn't need to go for 2 on that one play. They were chasing points super early. And then
I can understand it because it would have put them down by a field goal. And
still though, you got so much game left. Like
it wasn't that. But to be honest with you, that was on the receiver. I get that ball was tipped. That ball was tipped at the line,
right in the hands.
But you couldn't.
Right. But those are still the ifs because there was also that you can talk about the free play where Aaron Rodgers missed Devontae running free on the left. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He missed her. That could have been one. And then that first play where Devontae just didn't turn around on that play that they've been running all season and they missed it. I think that was one of the ones where they went to him 3 straight times.
No. That wasn't Devontae. The one who didn't, that was Lazard, that one play where they ran the RPO and he threw it to Lazard and he was just like, oh.
No. I'm talking about on the left side of the end zone when Parker, it was like, it's a quick little out that they do.
Oh, yeah.
Where he hits him on the left and he wasn't looking back.
They hit him on that like first little pylon.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he should have ran it, and then it was super choky to not go for it right there. Like, I don't know what the hell you're thinking.
Yeah.
Put Tom Brady back on because even if you don't get it, you leave him with the super long field.
Yeah, you put him inside the 10. It puts more pressure on the offense to get out of that situation.
Yeah, like it was just such a terrible coaching decision. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Dan Quinn-ish, Shanahan-ish.
So, I mean, maybe that curse did run through everybody that was involved. Like it just, you can coach football. You're pretty good. But, man, when it comes down to it, you just crumble.
Mm-hmm. When the game's on the line.
Oh, God. I'm so glad that's gone. But we'll get to why I'm glad that is here in a second. But I got into a pretty heated debate with someone on Facebook who's someone that I went to high school with and Micah also knows. I'm not going to name any names. But he's one of those guys that often talks sports, and you look at him and you're like, you kind of know the sport. I recognize the language that you're speaking, but do you really watch it? Do you understand what's happening? Because he's one of those people that lets his fanhood alter his judgment when it comes to how good certain players are and how good
was it the Falcons fan?
Aren't.
Was he?
He's a LSU, Patriots, and Falcons fan.
He used to be Patriots.
Yeah,
he's more of a Tom Brady fan.
Well, yeah, since the splitting of the house, he's followed Brady, but he was always with Belichick and the Patriots, because anytime Dan Quinn would do anything in a game, he would be like, this is why Belichick's the greatest, and this is why Dan Quinn sucks. It's like, huh? But he was saying, Tom Brady was the reason that they won that game. Tom Brady is the only reason that they're in the playoffs, and Tom Brady led this roster filled with bums, essentially, is what he was implying, to the playoffs and drug their dead corpses into the Super Bowl.
Sounds like a LeBron fan.
But, man, I was like, do you know who's on this team? I'm like, this team, like, is very good. Like roster-wise, for those of you who are listeners and don't actually keep up with the other teams in the division, the Saints have an excellent roster. The Buccaneers are like a tick behind them as far as being very good on just about every level. The only thing that really separates them right now is the Saints' offensive line is way better than the Buccaneers' offensive line. Everywhere else, it's pretty much a dead heat.
But Bruce Arians designs it so that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. But hold on, Mike. Let me finish this real quick and I'll let you go. You can't tell me that Brady is the only reason that this team is good, and this team was sub 500 for the last 4 years because of, it's a bad roster. Maybe 5 years ago and leading up to the last 3 years, yeah, you could say that. And then when it got to last year, and people were like, this is going to be the year that we can tell if Jameis is it or not, because this team doesn't have holes on the offensive side, really. And then Jameis threw 30 picks. And Jameis was the reason that they didn't make the playoffs because they lost, was it 7 games, Micah? By a touch.
They lost 9. They were 7-9.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, it was like they lost 7 games, I believe, by a possession or less.
Yeah, something like that.
And I remember reading this stat, and I posted it to him, and he really had no comeback to it. But I said, if you took away the interceptions that Jameis threw and those possessions that he gave the other team's offense away from that defense, they were a top 5 defense overall. And that's just the interceptions that were above league average for interceptions. So there were still like 10 more interceptions that he threw.
Bruh.
So there's obviously a glaring problem with the team, and it was one spot and one spot only.
Yeah. So to piggyback on your point, I saw another friend who posted something similar that he took, like Brady took a bad team and carried them to the Super Bowl.
It's that LeBron shit, man.
So I said, all right. I said, people say that this is a bad thing. This was a very good roster. I said, all right, like last year alone, they had the number 1 run defense in the league last year.
They had it again this year.
They were 5th in total in forced turnovers. That defense was 5th in forced turnovers with 28. They were 7th in sacks. Here's the funny thing. With the 28 forced turnovers, which put them 5th in the league, they still had a negative 13 turnover differential. So they turned the ball over 41 times total. 35 of those turnovers can directly be attributed to Jameis. He had 30 interceptions and 5 lost fumbles. So, this was a talent. This was a good defense, which they passing wise, they were down towards the bottom of the league because they had a lot of young corners, but they had a great pass rush. Their front 7 was amazing against the run, and they forced turnovers. The only difference was their offense gave up so many possessions that they constantly put their defense in a bad position. So what you do is you get a steadier, more consistent person at the helm, and you're starting to see the difference. The friend of mine, he's a NASCAR fan. So gave him an analogy in NASCAR. I said, so imagine you own a team, a NASCAR team, and you have the most advanced car in NASCAR, but you have a bad driver behind the wheel. Said you got a bad driver behind the wheel, so you're not winning anything. Said the moment you go out and get a driver like Jeff Gordon, now all of a sudden you're the toughest team to beat. Why? Because you went from you already had an amazing car. You just needed the right person behind the helm who's not going to blow, who's not going to just throw the games away. And that's really the biggest difference.
Well, Tom Brady's tried his darndest to throw that game away, but
man,
I will say what this was, I think even despite them throwing 30 picks last season, I think they were still top 5 in all passing categories in the league. So
because of the talent around Jameis.
Right. So essentially what it was is Tom Brady just picked the best team. Like he picked the perfect team to where it would lead to instant success. And he's not dumb. So to me, that's like that LeBron argument. Oh yeah, LeBron dragged a whole bunch of nobodies to 10 finals. Like, okay, just go look at the rosters. Like, great people. I think people get caught up in the moment and they like to, just attribute everything to one guy. And yeah, I won't deny that Tom Brady had a lot to do with this team getting there. But yeah, he's a quarterback. Of course he did.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't watch last week's game and be like, oh yeah, this is the only reason we're here when he throws 3 picks in the second half. Like that's the Brady that I saw early on in the season.
Not just that game. The Saints, they just off pure offensive drives, like not forced turnovers and not getting short fields. That offense put up 9 points. 21 of their 30 points came because their defense forced turnovers. Every time the Saints turned the ball over, they scored a touchdown. So it was like, all right, if it wasn't for your defense basically swinging the momentum, you might not have won that game.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, and just to sum this up before we move on to the Falcons, you had a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Mike Evans, a Pro Bowl. If he wasn't Pro Bowl, he just missed it, but I'm pretty sure Chris Godwin made the Pro Bowl last year. Mm-hmm. One of the better up-and-coming tight ends in O.J. Howard, and then you already had Cameron Brate, who was one of the better receiving tight ends. He was top 10 receiving tight ends. So you had that duo. Then you add a Hall of Fame tight end in Rob Gronkowski. I don't care how old he is still a receiving threat because of how big he is, how strong he is, and he was a hell of a run blocker still. Mm-hmm. You add him to the mix. Then you add 3/4 of the season, way into the season, or halfway through the season, you add a Hall of Fame wide receiver as well. Then you also add Leonard Fournette, who was a first-round pick at running back, who is a bruiser, who is a big, strong back that will wear you down. And you already had Rojo, who was a 1,000-yard running back this year and is a great receiving back. So you have you're so deep at your offensive weapons. You have actually a much improved offensive line, and then you throw in a Hall of Fame quarterback in there and just say, you know what, have fun. Mm-hmm. This is going to be one of the easiest times you've ever had on offense because everyone's going to be open. And our defense is going to get you the ball a lot. Mm-hmm. Just take care of it, man.
Yep.
And yes, he threw 40 touchdowns. Were they an impressive 40? They were okay because there was a lot of. I watched a lot of Buccaneers games this year, and I was like, Tom doesn't look that great. Yeah, he's thrown a lot of touchdowns because no one's 4 deep at wide receiver or 3 deep at covering, linebackers or safeties. It's just, someone's going to be open. And if you go spread them 5 wide, you just hand it off to Leonard Fournette and go against 4 guys. So, I mean, the point I was making at the beginning of this is Tom Brady's back in the Super Bowl for the 10th time. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not arguing that. What I am trying to argue is this is one of the least impressive Brady feats that I have seen in his career. Honestly, it's probably the least impressive because there is so much talent on that team. It doesn't mean it's not impressive that he made it to the Super Bowl, but ranking them, this is the least impressive Brady feat I've ever seen.
It's just that they're putting him on a pedestal like he is the sole reason. This team they were terrible, and then this Greek god of a Thomas Brady just carried them.
Exactly.
But I mean, I don't know if are we gonna next week are we gonna do some Super Bowl stuff?
We can do that.
But I will say if he does manage to beat. He go Drew Brees, and just in terms of what the books will say, he beat Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and if he happens to beat Pat Mahomes,
Boy,
Who they beat in the first round? Division
Redskins.
Oh,
I mean, the Washington
yeah.
football team.
Alex Smith.
Nope, not Alex
No,
Smith.
not even Alex.
Wait. Oh yeah,
What's his
Heineke.
face?
Taylor Heineke.
Have a Heineke, have a Henny. It's funny these backup quarterbacks that played in the playoffs both have beer names or alcohol names. You have a Heineke or you have a Henny. Anyway,
Let's move on from one bad opinion to another and talk about how John Madden, thinks that franchises should start hiring Madden players and giving them jobs to do research on their opponents, to scout them in a different way that other scouts aren't capable of doing. What he said was each team should hire 2 really good Madden players, and say the Falcons are playing the Saints this week, have one guy play as the Falcons, the other play as the Saints, play it a couple times, and then report back like, this is what I saw as a weakness, and this is essentially a scouting report based upon Madden. First of all, that means Madden has never played a game of his own game, because that game is so far from realistic football that it's not even funny. But essentially what these Madden players are going to recommend to their head coaches would be, we need to cut the punter first and foremost. We're not going for it on 4th down ever, or we're not punting on 4th down ever. I don't care where we are. We're going for it. 4th and 25, 4 verts. Scramble outside the pocket as soon as you get it and throw this route. It's always open, coach. If you just come to the line and audible into this type of protection and hot route these 2 guys into this, it's going to be wide open, coach.
Zone man doesn't matter. It's going to be open.
Because the free safety just can't cover it, coach. Then they're going to come out and either run cover 4 all game or a 0 coverage blitz. And on offense, they're going to run slants all game. And this is actually not just a shout out to our cousin here, Marco. This is not a shout out to Bryce for running slants, but this is why I told you Bryce is a lobby player. But they're gonna run.
He was laying the smackdown on you.
I played someone in Madden and on a PlayStation, Micah. It did not go well for me.
Any game on PlayStation, I'm just like, no.
I don't know if it was that or if I was what, but
he was only playing. You only used like 5 plays though, my cousin.
Yeah. I mean, but it's still the difference. Like, it's hard for me to register. Like, if I see X open on the field, my natural reaction is to go to the button on the left and not the like where the A button would be.
Right.
So it's stuff like that.
Yeah. But that is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. And John Madden, I honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I was shocked to hear a John Madden quote because for some reason I thought he was dead.
Well, I know he's not dead, but I know he's not doing well.
He's like 90 something.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you probably go out there and get you some nice Madden players.
Well, the way I could get to say my Madden game in here is to go get some Madden players really good at the game.
And then boom, tough acting
Boom.
tonight.
He probably thinks Tiburon still makes the game.
They could probably give you some insight that you don't have there. Yeah, you could ask Madden. No, Madden. That's not how this works, old dude.
Dirk Cutter took that advice last year.
I know, right? I wish Dirk Cutter would have taken that advice. It would have been better if he would have asked Madden. Right.
Oh God, Dirk Cutter.
Before we start talking about Falcons, I do want to say, I know the Bills got smacked up, but there was one play of that game where I was like, oh my God, Josh Allen's arm is ridiculous.
Yes, I know what play
you know what I'm talking about? When he was falling out of bounds on the 40-yard line. Oh my God.
Good God.
How did he make that? He wasn't even on his feet. This dude cannons it to the back pylon from the 40-yard line off his feet, like falling out of bounds. So I was like, what the hell?
Oh my God. Sorry, but this is divine intervention. I just got this text from someone saying, my friend just sent me this. This is the game that Madden wants people to play to scout another team. So let's go. Let's get this focused. Maybe.
Is that from Brandon?
Yeah.
Turn it sideways. I can't see that.
Yeah, let me get it going first. Well, no, it's recorded this way. So unfortunately. Here. Play. Why is it not playing?
Or focus.
It is.
Oh, wait.
Oh, come on.
Was that a pick?
Yeah, so it went off. There we go. You'll see him throw it. Doink. Bounces up. He kicks it up, ollies it, and a guy. So essentially, for those that are listening, Lamar Jackson tried to throw it through the C gap. It got tipped by a linebacker, shot back down, hit his defensive lineman's heel, who then kicked the ball up maybe a foot in the air, and then a blocked linebacker shot through a already non-existent hole and intercepted it for a touchdown. That's the game he wants people to play to scout their opponents.
That's realistic, man. It happens all the time.
Oh. Sorry. I didn't interrupt you.
But getting back to that Josh Allen throw, that was just like, really?
Yeah, I know. It's like, Jesus.
Like, dude.
Christ.
Like, it was. That throw was one I've seen on Madden, though. Where you're about to get sacked and the dude just flips the ball 40 yards downfield.
Right. It did look like that.
Wow.
It looked like a glitch. Like, what the hell? How did he just, like, robo-arm? How in the hell did he get that from that position to that far?
Yeah. It's like Aaron Rodgers, man. The guy barely looks like he's throwing it. The ball just moves.
Yeah.
Same with Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Aaron Rodgers though off both feet throw a bar that far.
And not to mention he overthrew. He threw the ball out the back of the end zone.
He like hit the back wall. I'm like, God damn, Josh.
Receiver was like, what?
I thought you got sacked, bro.
I was getting sacked.
What are you made of, bro?
Right.
He got that Captain America throw.
Right. It's like, oh my God, Josh.
Oh man.
Yeah, that dude's got these quarterbacks that are in the league right now are incredible.
Yeah.
Then his coach down 3 touchdowns, kicking field goals.
Oh man,
These NFL coaches, man.
It's like, should I go for this? No, I'm going to take the points. Coach, they haven't stopped scoring. Kick the field goal. This is the Chiefs, coach. Kick the field goal. Did you just see what Tyreek did?
Oh man,
I
can't stop him.
He can't guard me.
God, man, that Chiefs team is a cheat code. All right, so bringing it back here to Atlanta, the Falcons have finally announced the answer. They've answered a question that we've been questioning. I don't know what I'm saying right here. They've hired some people that we've been waiting for them to announce. So on the GM front, we hired Terry Fontenot, formerly of the New Orleans Saints.
What a Saints name too. That
Man, I'm telling you. I was like, God, why do we have to steal from the Saints? And he has a French name.
It's funny if it was like a scheme to come and sabotage our team for the next 5 years.
Do you put it beyond Sean Payton? No. Or Mickey Loomis? I don't. They're like 3 steps ahead of everybody in the division. So
right.
They're like, yeah, Terry, we're going to fire him anyway. Take him.
You know what to do.
We found out he's just been standing in rooms for 18 years, not doing anything, and we somehow missed it. Uh-oh. Where'd everybody go? I feel like they found out that Fontenot was just standing in rooms for 18 years and collecting payroll, and they were just like, wait, who is this guy? And then the Falcons are like, we want to interview him.
Like they gave him that Milton Wadhams treatment from the Office Space.
But no, in all seriousness, Fontenot has been a highly sought after GM candidate for a couple of years now, and has been largely responsible for some of the moves that they made. Rosters, drafting especially. They've some of the guys were his projects and his recommendations, and he's known to be very savvy in the front office because he's dealt with the Saints cap space for so long, and he's still been able to help sign some of these players that have made huge impacts for the Saints over these last couple of years. So he's supposed to be a very good candidate. If I'm drawing likeness to or similarities to when we hired Dimitrov, I think he comes more highly sought after and highly praised than Dimitrov was, just because Dimitrov, kind of made his way up, but he was like a tertiary type of guy that was picked from the Patriots organization, whereas Fontenot, people have been wanting him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What was Fontenot's position title?
He was like assistant or vice president of football operations or something like that. He was way up there, and he'd worked his way. He started 18 years ago as an accounting intern with the Saints and worked his way up to the ranks. So, I mean, he's been with this organization from the very beginning.
We got intel.
Yeah, I mean, he knows the ins and the outs of that organization and how it's done. So, he's pretty much done every position in the front office and some on the coaching staff as well. So,
we need some tips on how they can how they cheated the system and how they're $90 million over the cap apparently somehow.
Man, I'm telling you, like I saw that and I was like, wait, is that right? Not how much? So everyone's playing with 150, but the Saints are playing with 240.
I've heard people say that the cap is imaginary.
Well, speaking of cap, the Fontenot, has been there long enough that he knows who's really good with the cap on the Saints team, and he offered him a job. He offered the Saints salary cap expert. His name is Kai Harley, who is their current VP of football operations and literally the genius behind. He's the beautiful mind that they lock in a room and they're like, here's a piece of chalk and a chalkboard, work it out. And they come back 3 days later and he's all coked out and he's like, I did it. I turned salary cap off for us and us only, but it works. So we offered him a job. The Saints are fighting his tooth and nail to keep him, and they've been offering him pay raises and higher positions. So it just depends on how much we want to pay this man. Hopefully Arthur Blank opens up that checkbook and we make him an offer he can't refuse.
Offer him steak in Home Depot.
Yeah, I've still got some stock here in Home Depot. I don't know if you've heard of it, but want some?
Want some shares?
Man. But he had spoken about sustainable long-term success, and he refused to talk about fixing the team because he felt like there was already the pieces there, which a lot of Falcons fans do as well. I don't think this is just, rah-rah talk, because he was very honest about some other things. But I think he knows a lot of the problems that we had was the people that were running the team. It was like a sickness, and they cut it off at the head, essentially, is the way he views it. It's time to ram a new culture down our throats. But
a culture that knows how to draft linemen.
God, I hope so. That more than likely means Matt Ryan's here to stay, and I think a lot of us knew that from the very beginning. At least a lot of us that understand what salaries are, what a salary cap is, and how it works. The math wasn't there. You couldn't do it without crippling your organization. But along with announcing Fontenot, we announced. Actually, guys, do y'all have any opinions on Fontenot? Sorry, I kind of dominated that. Do y'all have anything y'all want to say about him? It's hard to talk about a GM.
I think we peppered in some good stuff there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was completely satisfied with them.
Yeah, and he's a man of color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. I mean, especially, not in the sense, that a lot of people are like, oh, it fit, you hired this. But I think Atlanta especially, Atlanta as a town, as a culture, and as a representation of the majority of the people here, it's important to have someone that represents those people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Black decision makers is always a positive.
right. I mean, hell, Keisha's setting a fine example of that right now for us. And
Oh, is she?
I mean, yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like, well, there's some things. There's some things that she's done that I don't necessarily agree with, but we'll get off that topic real fast.
Yes.
We also announced that we're going to we hired a new head coach, and this man's name is Arthur Smith. This is the move I am excited for. He was a guy that, not even going to lie, when there was coaching options out there, I overlooked him. I looked at him the wrong way. I attributed other people's skills to his success. But after we hired him and I started breaking down film and looking at what he does and the way he coaches and the way he coaches his offense, Atlanta, you got something to be excited about.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is next level when it comes to executing an offense. I'm not going to say that his play calling is a whole lot different because there's only so much you can do in football offensively that other people, can't do themselves. But it's the execution and how to manipulate a defense with those play calls is what he does. Micah, how excited are you about this man?
I'm very excited. And I I get it. It wasn't the sexiest of picks, but like I said, first and foremost, he is a coach who truly believes in balance and having an effective run game. And a lot of people like to attribute all of their rushing success in Tennessee on just Derrick Henry being a beast, which a lot of it is. It's a big part of it. But if you truly look at how many times Derrick Henry makes it to the second and third level before anybody can get a hand on him. So if you look at it like that, then it's like, all right, this stuff is schemed. A lot of these runs are schemed. Now, granted, Derrick Henry is a beast at finishing runs, but if he's getting 4 or 5 yards before anybody can get a hand on him, you called a pretty good play. You blocked everything. It is blocked well. It's set up well, and if you just and just comes up to the back, now the back can get it. Now the difference between Derrick Henry and other backs is he takes that 4 or 5 yards, he stiff arms somebody, and then turns it into a 15 to 20 yard run. That's just the difference. But even with our backfield, if Ito's gets 6-7 yards downfield before anybody touches him, he's slippery enough. He might be able to break a couple.
I think it's also important to note that the Titans' offensive line is not a great offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably not better than our offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about just pure talent.
Yeah. And they let a Pro Bowl right tackle walk in free agency this past season.
And they lost their Pro Bowl left tackle.
And they still ran. Derrick Henry still had 2,000 yards, and they still were top 10 in rushing. So I think him alone, he can alone bring us. Even I won't necessarily say top 15, top 10, because I don't know what the running back situation is going to be like next year. But I think he'll take us from bottom tier to, even if he takes us middle of the pack, it's an improvement and will bring balance.
Real quick, and Marco, I'm sorry to jump in one more time. There's a big back that we have on this roster that a lot of us kept wondering, when's he going to get a shot?
Yeah, Kadri. Mm-hmm.
Or is he Brian Hill part 2?
Yeah.
Did we just draft the same guy twice?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you really, I haven't seen enough from Kadri to see what his field vision is like and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, because it's not always just about being big. You're right.
yeah. I mean, it's Hill is Hill. He has flashes, but you don't know what you're going to get. Ito looks special, but Ito's small.
Yeah, I think Brian Hill and Ito's biggest problem is they can't block.
Yeah. And so, you know, if we could now, you know, of course, who I want in the draft, but he looks like he might be a first rounder now. Good old Bama, another big 230 pound Bama running back.
Might fall though because he can't catch.
He can't catch.
That's what I was hearing.
Dude, as many passes he caught for them. Here's the thing, and really the reason I want Najee isn't necessarily because of size, but it's because every big game, every important game they had, Najee went off. Like it'd be, you know, they're playing Middle Tennessee or something. He just have an okay game. But like the past 2 years, whether it was LSU or you know, the national championship game or whatever, you put the ball in Najee's hands, that boy makes plays. So, you know, him, I wouldn't mind Etienne. Sermon is another one I really like too. But and what's the other one? Was it Javonte Williams?
Oh, from North Carolina, Devontae.
He's not bad. He's not bad.
I don't think it'll be any issue to find a running back.
Well, it depends on who we get though, because like when I was looking at
well, let's not get too deep into the you know.
Yeah, we could do a draft episode.
Yeah, we'll cover that another time because we could literally talk positions for hours.
But let me just give my 2 bits on Arthur Smith. I think that, and it's funny because I think maybe 3 episodes ago, we were talking, and I think you were talking about Arthur Blank, Ryan, and you accidentally said Arthur Smith.
I did. I remember that.
And that was before he was hired, so it was funny that.
You're welcome, Atlanta.
But I think I know on the episode with Jeremy, I sort of played the devil's advocate, and I was like, you know, maybe we shouldn't give up on Matt Ryan so quick. And I think hiring Arthur Smith plays into that, because what we've been seeing with Matt Ryan for the past 2-3 years, ever since the Super Bowl, is he had that one stellar, amazing season. Then he followed it up with another, you know, MVP-like season. But the thing is, he's getting older, and we can't still have him. I know people say it's because we get down, but at the same time, we were ahead in a lot of these games, and this dude's still averaging 40 to 45 passes a game. Like, we just can't have Matt Ryan passing that much and expect to win, because at this point in his career, he's more likely to end a game on an interception than he is to throw you a game-winning touchdown. That's just where he's at. So if Arthur Smith is going to come in here and he's going to make sure that there is some you know, what's the word, down the middle play calling,
balance.
Some balance in the play calling, to make sure that, you know, that Matt Ryan's not out here losing us games. And I think that the way that he saved, even though Tannehill, I thought was, even before he went there, I thought Tannehill was pretty good. So when they say that he completely saved his career, I think that's a bit of a, you know, a bit of more like narrative, because he went to the bench. He became a bench guy, but he played good in Miami before he got hurt. But he led him to the playoffs. But he became a bench guy, and then he decided to start him. So I guess in essence, he saved his career, I guess so. But
I mean, I think the problem with Tannehill was just, it was more so his age more than anything, because he came into the league at 24. Mm-hmm. So 5-year contract, you're already pushing 30. And so now he's 31, 32 already. And he's only been in the league six or 7 seasons. So, I mean,
well, not to get too deep into Tannehill. I mean, my point is that Tannehill was just always okay. I mean, it was not like he was trash and Arthur Smith made him great. But I think that is what he did with Tannehill would help a quarterback who's superior than Tannehill far superior than Tannehill, do a lot. I think it's exactly what Matt needs. And it sucks that he's gonna have, to get used to like his fifth coach now since he's been here, or his fifth coordinator / coach. So I know there's always that swing year. So hopefully it's not too bad, but I'm hopeful about this.
He's literally been the only constant thing of Arthur Blank and Arthur Blank salary.
Him and Julio, that's been it.
No, but Julio came in 11.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm talking about like.
Yeah. But like ever since Arthur Blank took over the team, it's just been Matt Ryan, and he's the only one.
I think one of the big reasons that he's going to be successful here is if you look, like, his play action rates were first in the league on early downs, which is something that you have to have a good run game for, and it just shows an emphasis on the run game. But he used motion the second most in the entire NFL, only behind the Ravens, and it was only by a little bit. And the Ravens use a ton of motion, but it was like, I think it was around 46% of the time he uses, or 63% of the time he uses motion. 46% of the time he used play action on first down. That's what it was. But the biggest thing that really sings true is when you have coaches leave places and players who have been with the team for a long time want to follow those coaches to places. And DJ Shockley just recently, it was on I think they were talking about Arthur Smith actually, and he had interviewed Ben Jones, which was the starting center for the Titans. And there was a couple of things he said in there that just really impressed me. And the first one was when he was mentioning when they got to the line and started to read the defense, the openness and the flexibility of the offense that Arthur Smith allows in his offense. And that speaks to two things. It speaks to a diverse playbook, but also teaching all of your players the ins and outs of that playbook and making sure they have it down. So when Ben Jones got to the line, he said they could shift their coverages, they could shift their routes, they could shift everything in a play once they got to the line and had the ability to do so. So that's one thing. But also, he, what was it? Dang, I had it, but I lost it. But yeah, but that was the biggest thing to me, was the ability to just to go out there and like, all right, I trust you guys to execute my offense. Go for it.
Which Matt has always excelled.
Exactly. That's what it was. Yeah, was the fact that Matt. Fans have been calling for it for years. Let Matt run the offense. Let Matt run the offense. He does better. No huddle. Moving on to the defensive side, and this is where I'm most excited, actually, even though I spoke very excitedly about Arthur here. We have brought in Dean Pease. Y'all know who that is?
No, who's that?
He is the most recently the defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
But where he made his name was really all his years with the Belichick defense. He was the architect and the man who executed that defense in all those years where the Patriots were just running through people and just absolutely dominating with what top 5 defense every year. When you had the Brewskis, you had the Seymours, you had Ty Law, you had all those type of guys. He was the guy that was executing it up there. He left there, and the Ravens actually stole him, and it was a huge thing when he left there to go to Baltimore, because there was all that talent on Baltimore, and people were like, wow, this is about to get real crazy. And sure enough, he won a Super Bowl with them in 2012. But he is a very diverse defensive coordinator. He likes to bring pressure. He likes to teach his defense in ways that other people don't. There was a guy online that I used to watch his film clips, and he said one of the best people that he's ever learned to break down clips with or film with is Dean, and because of how thorough he is and how good he is with it. But the thing that excites me the most is he runs a multiple defense, but he runs a high emphasis or a heavy emphasis on a 3-4 front. And I know you both know what that is, but for the people who aren't listening, Micah, could you explain the difference between the 4-3 front, what we have been running, to a 3-4 front, what we more than likely are going to be moving towards?
Yeah. All right. So with the 3-4 front, or the 4-3 front, what we run now is you have 2 D tackles and you 2 hand on the ground defensive ends. You go 3 linebackers. You go 3 linebackers behind them. Now you can change. You could vary that in different ways and how you line up and so on and so forth. But that's typically 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. So with the 3-4, you change that a little bit. You get what you call a nose tackle, which is a big body that 330 pound, 320, 330 pound dude that you sit right in the middle of, between the center and the guard. You take 2 D tackles, 2 D tackle size players, and you move them out to defensive ends, and they line up off of the tackle or whatever, and then you come and you have 4 linebackers behind them. And 2 of the 2 outside linebackers typically line up also on the line of scrimmage. So it looks like 5 guys on the line of scrimmage and 2 backers behind it. So what's good about the 3-4 is it makes it a lot easier to disguise blitzes and pressures, because you have those people, the way they're aligned, it's no telling who all they're sending. So you can send them in different ways, and it can be very, very devastating if it's run correctly, basically.
And he and Wade Phillips are probably the 2 guys out there that have consistently executed the 3-4 defense at a top level like that for long periods of time. For those, again, that may not know, when you think of 3-4 defense, you probably think of like what the Pittsburgh Steelers have ran for all these years. They've ran that for very long, and it's an aggressive style defense. Lots of linebackers, lots of speed. Marco, do you have a preference between a 4-3 or a 3-4 defense, or is that even something that you concern yourself with?
I mean, I don't necessarily concern myself with it. I mean, I know the 4-3 is more your traditional set, but I think I like 3-4 just because it's more dynamic and it is a different look. So I feel that there's a component of that keeps your offense guessing a little bit more because it is more adaptable.
Yeah. The big reason I'm really excited for this, and I know we've had many chats in our group chats, and Micah, you and I have gone back and forth on it. But even if it does take us a while to convert to it and get all the pieces, because, I mean, you get different style players for these defenses. And just because you can play in a 4-3 does not mean you can play in a 3-4 and vice versa. It's not really translatable. There's guys that play a certain way and are certain fits for that, and, you build your team around that. But I think we do have some guys that are talented enough that they could excel in that. But the biggest reason I'm really excited about a 3-4 being our base defense is because in today's NFL, you need more linebackers on the field.
Yeah.
The less big bodies you have on the field right now, the better. And it's kind of like, kind of like the NBA. Big bodies are kind of slowly getting pushed out in favor of speed and motion and things like that. So 3-4 is your base defense, and really most teams don't even have a base that's not a nickel anyway. Most teams run out 3 defensive backs out there because there's so much speed coming at you. Very rarely, unless you're playing the Cleveland Browns and maybe the Ravens, are you going to worry about someone just running the ball 30 to 40 times on you anymore.
Yeah. Or Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, they still pass the ball a lot.
Yeah.
The Browns ran the ball considerably more than Tennessee. The Tennessee just had a lot of yards because Derrick Henry's a freak.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. No, go for it.
But what I was gonna say is, but the one thing that sets the 3-4 apart and why you need that big body at nose tackle is he's there to eat up blocks versus 4-3. most of your linemen are trying to get penetration. 3-4, no, that's not what it's about. It's about eating up blocks and allowing your linebackers to roam free. And that dude is there. He's trying, if he can eat up the center and both guards, he'll do it. He's done a great job because linebackers like Debo and Foye aren't going to get touched. If he's consuming up that many blocks, then those guys they're not going to get touched, and they're going to be allowed to fly all over the field. Not to mention if they blitz them up the A gap, and you got this nose tackle taking up two blockers, there is a very good chance that with their speed that they're going to get in there and they're going to get home and potentially wreak havoc in the backfield. So
yeah.
So in a 3-4, are your edge guys still trying to get the edge, or are they playing a different role? And you mix blitzes in there to get pressure.
You mix blitzes in to get pressure, but it's different in the 3-4 because instead of the ends being the edge guys, it's your outside linebackers a lot of times. So you have more speed and versatility out there as opposed to now. And the funny thing is, as much as Dante Fowler struggled for us this year, outside linebacker, a stand-up outside linebacker in the 3-4, he played that very well in Wade Phillips' defense.
Yeah.
In Wade Phillips' defense in LA. So he can definitely be more effective in that role. Now, my biggest concern is we got to get us two legit nose tackles, one certified starter and one solid big body to back him up. But other than that, I mean, I think we have enough talent that we could be all right with that.
We could certainly survive, especially if we get a nose tackle. There are different styles, Marco, to 3-4 defenses. Like Wade Phillips plays a one gap 3-4 defense, which allows his defensive ends still to get pressure, to generate pressure in there. So like Aaron Donald, like Theo Ratliff back in the day, like they were playing the 3-4 then, and they still had defensive ends getting pressure. So it just depends on how you coach it, because there's always variables and variants of a defense. Just like, the 4-3 defense that Tampa played for so long, the Tampa 2 defense, is completely different than the cover 3, 4-3 over defense that they ran in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's a 4-3 defense, but it's ran different. So either way, we're going to be sitting in nickel 60% of the game anyway. Yeah, for those listening, football is where I nerd out, and that's what I really love. So if y'all ever want to just talk it, let's talk it. Shoot me a message. Now the last guy we hired as our offensive coordinator, I'll honestly say I don't know too much about him. Apparently he's one of those up and coming guys. His name's Dave Ragone. Ragoni. I don't know how to say his name because I've only seen it typed. I have not heard Ragone. He's our offensive coordinator now. I don't know how much play calling he'll be doing, considering Arthur Smith is more than likely going to be our play caller, and since offense is where he made his living. But Dave Pizza Sauce is gonna be calling it, and the only history that I saw of any importance was he was the passing game coordinator for the Bears last year, and the quarterback coach for the Bears the previous 4 years. So
this is Mitchell Trubisky's passing coordinator.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what he did that last little bit of the season though. I mean, he finally got Mitch right.
Oh my God. He got Mitch right for like 3 games, then the playoffs started.
Hey. Well, because he didn't look terrible.
The Saints.
He didn't look terrible against the Saints.
They were just
After that
overmatched.
one drop pass, he didn't do anything else for the rest of that game.
But they also you didn't have Mooney and Anthony Miller. Their third best receiver got ejected from the game. So you legitimately had Allen Robinson and a bunch of receivers that nobody's ever heard of trying to beat that Saint secondary.
Yeah, I mean the Bears didn't have any receivers all season, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just here to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be weird to go from a passing game coordinator to named. Maybe he just puts together great plans up in Chicago, and Nagy didn't call them well. I mean, hey, it's quite possible.
Nagy's choky, man. He is choky. And I hear that our QB coach that we're looking at, some black dude. I heard. I forget. They said he played somewhere locally. I forget.
Reggie Ball?
Reggie Ball, QB coach.
Here we go.
You just got to get your ass up.
Oh, I see. We bullshit now here. Yeah, I don't really see. Nothing pops up yet. It still shows Greg Knapp.
Okay, I heard someone on the radio. They were talking about it. I forget where he was a local product. I forget where he worked, but yeah. Anywho.
Yeah. That ends the Grits Blitz.
Grits Blitz.
Insert football noise here.
All right. So that brings me in with the Suicide Squeeze. Here we go.
Now up to bat, Micah Poole.
And in the words of Reggie Ball, chicks dig the long ball. So all right, so not much has happened. Today they did the voting for the MLB Hall of Fame. How no one made it, I have no idea.
You said no one made it?
Not a single person made the Hall of Fame. The closest person was Kurt Schilling. Kurt Schilling got 71% of the votes, which I believe was
75 is the required.
75 is the requirement.
That's hilarious.
71% of the votes. And I think part of the reason he didn't make it is because of some of his political stances. Barry Bonds was second with like 61.
He's never gonna get in there.
Omar Vizquel missed as well, because he had like a domestic violence situation.
What did Pete Rose have? Like 5%?
Pete Rose, he's not even
Oh, Pete.
So I told Ryan before the show started, and I'm like, this is the perfect example of what's wrong with baseball and their Hall of Fame.
They're
Hall of
gatekeepers,
Fame
assholes.
It's opinion. It's too much opinion based, and any little thing, they don't look at numbers at all. It's just, well, for some people they look at numbers, but for a lot of the players, they look for any and every reason why this player shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, instead of rewarding these players for having illustrious careers. And it's like, okay, this dude snubbed me in an interview 40 years ago. I'm not voting for him. And that kind of crap. It's like, yeah, y'all need to just get rid of that and change the system. Update your system, because y'all are lagging behind as far as your Hall of Fame.
Did y'all see this?
Wow.
Saquon Smith passed away from complications of COVID.
Wow.
When did that happen?
Today.
Oh my God.
Goodness gracious.
Rest in peace.
The only reason I saw it is because Hugh Douglas is on Instagram, Instagram heated right now.
Yeah. Well, after that somber note, let's
right. My bad. I figured we needed to pay tribute to a man that many of us watched. By the way, if y'all don't know who Sekou Smith is, was on NBA TV.
Yeah. All right. So, in other baseball news, the MLBPA, the Players Association, rejects the MLB offer to expand the playoffs, citing their reason to being that it would create far more revenue for the league than it would for the players. And they also rejected the MLB's offer for the universal DH, citing the reason is it's not advantageous to the NFL the National League to have a designated hitter. And teams also don't need to purchase the high-priced players to fill that role, which sucks. Which sucks for two players in general, Nelson Cruz and and Marcelo Ozuna, who were really banking on the DH because it really opens up the market for them. And last but not least, in Braves news, it's kind of Braves news. So there's a talented young Orioles player, Trey Mancini, who is in arbitration, and is looking. He opted out for 2020 because he had to have cancer. I believe he had to have surgery for cancer or something, and he's not even 29 yet. But he's looking to get out of Baltimore. So he's a potential option for the Braves to trade for that left field spot, since we've yet to fill that role.
Ozuna must be asking for the moon, man.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily asking for the moon, but that's why he wants them to do the universal DH, because it opens up both NL and AL options versus because he knows that's his lane. That's where he's going to get paid, to be paid the most, is to be a DH, versus if you have to make him an everyday fielder, then that's going to hurt his value as far as getting paid. So,
right. But I know the Dodgers are allegedly interested, and the Yankees are.
Yeah, as soon as they get involved, that price goes up by at least $20 million.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. The Braves just seem so willing to not make moves. I mean, they made a couple little pitcher moves early, but since then they've been, dark.
I don't always agree with it, but I don't always disagree with it either, because so many teams, you'll see them sell the house for certain players, and it'll be a talented team, and it'll be like, oh, we need this one piece, and just give him everything, and
then they'll win the title, like with Mookie Betts.
But I've also seen it pretty much collapse their entire team as well.
For one player, where money is imaginary in the MLB.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just the personality in the locker room, the clubhouse can clash. I've seen it, and
It happens.
Not to mention, speaking of another big name player and being rumored, there's a rumor that the Mets might go hard after Trevor Bauer.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Fuck the Mets.
Which is, but that's the crazy thing. You got Syndergaard, you got Stroman, if you get Bauer and they, who's the other one? They got one more really good pitcher too.
Thor and they had Harvey there for a little while, but see. Mets.
But it's like, dude, that'd be nasty. It's gonna be hard to. It's gonna be hard for them to.
DeGrom, Stroman, Carrasco.
Our division's tough though.
Wait, is Thor gone?
No, he was hurt.
Okay, so they got DeGrom.
They get him back.
They got Syndergaard, DeGrom, Stroman. Yeah,
that's the one I was.
And if you threw Bauer in there too, good God.
Exactly. They're going to be losing a lot of 1-0 games.
Yeah, for real.
Look, because they fell behind the Marlins at this point, so they're like the fourth best team in the division.
Yeah, but I mean that pitching staff is nasty. That pitching staff would be nasty. Like I said, it's just their offense is trash. So good luck winning. Good luck trying to win it. Yeah, like I said, y'all gonna pitch a lot of quality starts only to lose like 1 or 2, like 1-0, 2-1.
I hope they throw the bag at Bauer. That'd be one of those moves like you were just talking about. They went all in. Didn't make the playoffs.
Speaking of, but yeah, you talking about paying for players like the Yankees. How many times did the Yankees go all in on a player and it just never worked out?
But they always make the playoffs. They just never can beat anybody in the playoffs.
But you go out and get an all-star roster and can never win in the playoffs, then what difference does it make?
That's true. That's true.
Was that it for basketball?
That's it.
I'm looking at I downloaded this thing and subscribed to it called Pod Decks, and it's just literally
Pod decks.
decks. Oh, actually, I might want to ask that one. It's just like questions, and you can swipe through them.
You looking at pod decks?
Pod decks. Ooh, that's a good one too. And it's just questions, for things like this. And I was like, oh, this would be a good one.
Oh, a lightning round questions?
Yeah, it's just, it's a whole slew of things. One of them's like episode ideas. But this one is, what superhero would make the best pro athlete? And there's got to be some type of limit to that, because I think the obvious answer would be like Flash or Superman.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman. He's fast, strong.
He can fly. Yeah.
You throw a 90 miles per hour fastball to Superman. He hits it over the moon.
That would have to be like, what superhero would make the best pro athlete while only using one of their skills at 25% of their capacity?
Yeah. I picked the next question. Let's do it.
What is the best superhero weapon? Oh yeah, this is the superhero thing. Where'd it go? Decks? Custom decks? I'm learning this app, so sorry. View pod decks, interview, icebreakers. I'll go back to the what the fuck ones. No. What would be the absolute worst name you could give your child? I think we've had that discussion before.
I think
people we know.
Dick Gregory told that joke, but I'm not going to tell it on this because it's inappropriate. It has to do with the N-word.
Oh God. Oh God.
But trust me, I've seen some very tragic names.
Let's go to the hoops one. That one was pretty good. That's a good one. It says best sixth man: Lemon Pepper Lou Williams or Jamal Crawford. These are debate. Like, these could be debates.
Yeah, these are debate questions. Are there any that's just like a?
Oh, here we go. If you're starting a team, would you rather have a pass first point guard or a score first point guard?
Who first?
I'll go first because I have a strong opinion on this. I want a pass first point guard all day long because I want someone who can set up offense for others. Now, I hope that doesn't mean they can't score. I hope they're not like Rajon Rondo out here.
Derek Fisher.
Yeah, but Fisher could still shoot a little bit and score every now and then.
What? Fisher could not score.
There were several playoff games where he would have like 16, 17 points.
They're like Ben Simmons.
Look at his career averages.
I'm sure it's like 10 points a game.
They're like Ben Simmons.
He had like a couple 10-point years. His high was 13.
Yeah.
For the most part, it was around like 9 and under.
Yeah, he was never inept on offense. It's just,
He just wasn't good at it.
when you're on a team with Shaq and Kobe, they're not going to be like, all right, D-Fish, let's go. It's your time, baby. It's like, oh, look, I got an offensive rebound. Look who's wide open at the three-point line. But yeah, I'm definitely going pass first. I hope I answer it that way with the idea that they can still score, but they look to pass first.
Like
we're talking John Stockton versus like Steph
Allen Iverson.
Well, Allen Iverson wasn't even a point guard. He didn't even pretend to be.
Yeah, he was a 2 for sure. But
there
were several times he played it.
John Stockton versus Russell Westbrook.
I'm taking John Stockton every day.
That's bad though, because
John Stockton played defense.
Yeah, there's no caveat as to whether like he's a retarded point guard.
Let's go like Jason Kidd versus
Kyrie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's perfect. Would you rather have Jason Kidd or Kyrie?
If you said John Stockton versus Kyrie, I would have definitely said John Stockton 10 times out of 10.
Really?
But I typically lean towards the pass first point guard. The only reason like Jason Kidd because Jason Kidd wasn't a scorer much at all. He as he got older, he developed a okay 3-point shot, but he was the epitome of, shoot, I'm just gonna pass. I'm gonna create down the lane, do something flashy with my hands. Don't know where the ball was. Man, hit somebody wide open.
He led his team to 2 finals.
Yeah, and I mean there was a couple years. I mean, in his prime, it was like 16-15, 16-15, 19-16-15. Yeah. I'm rounding up on everything. 13-13.
Like, yeah,
no, he's right though. He definitely wasn't an offensive threat per se.
Yeah, but that, I mean, I definitely I lean towards the pass first point guard, just because, like you said, your ability to create, you keep your teammates happier as a pass first point guard, because they know if they're open 9 times out of 10 you're going to hit them, especially if they're in a position where now it's like if you're Josh Smith open at the 3-point line, then that's something different, but yeah, I lean towards pass first point guard.
I would
score.
I mean, when you put it like, I think that's the best way to say it, like Jason Kidd versus Kyrie. And just based off the fact that Jason Kidd was able to take those teams to finals that weren't, the second best players like Kenyon Martin, then Richard Jefferson, and Kerry Kittles.
Don't forget the boy. Vince Kennedy.
Who?
Vince, but that was the second iteration.
Yeah.
This never made it to the final. So forget about that. It was Kmart, Richard Jefferson, Kerry Kittles. What's the one white dude? What's the white dude's name who had like a French name?
Keith Van Horn.
Keith Van Horn. So yeah, but I will say this. I think I forget when I saw this, might have been 4 years ago, but they say a player who has led the league in assists has never won a championship. And I think that's because a lot of times the teams that win have guys that don't need assists to score.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So when you're going down there and you just say like Kawhi, I'm gonna just go plant myself on the box and do a turnaround jumper, or MJ or Kobe or any of these closers in history, they don't need assists. Even Kyrie, you could even say Kyrie when he closed that finals. You don't need. You're much more like. Even like LeBron, that's the one knock against him too. He's a pass first guy, honestly. And when a lot of times to close a game, he'll pass it to the corner, or something like that, or he'll try to draw the defense and pass it, which is a good basketball play. But at the end of the day, you want a guy that can score. But so I'll say I want to pass first just because your point guard being a shoot first guy, isn't the best thing. But then again, I don't know. That's a tough one because I think I'd rather have Steph Curry than John Stockton or Jason Kidd.
I might change your mind with this option. Would you rather have Chris Paul or Kyrie?
Kyrie? I don't know, man. Chris, I don't know, man. That's tough. Prime Chris Paul, yeah. Before his hamstring, I don't know, but he's always been so. His chokiness has always led to injuries, so I could not, in good faith, pick Chris Paul when Kyrie has a championship with a game-winning shot.
Oh man.
So I don't know. I might have to say score first. Honestly, I'm going score first.
Trey, I think Trey is technically, I would say Trey's more of a pass first because he enjoys passing, but you know.
Tonight, like he had what 38 and 4. It seemed like one of those nights when he had to score for them to win.
Yeah. Trey's great, man. Trey's great. All right. I've said all I've wanted to say. Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's bring back our outro. You should be like, instead of us having to say our own names where it's all awkward.
Yeah.
You should be like, hey, I'm Ryan, and for Micah and Marco. like the anchors do it for such and such. And then we could say, if you like fish and grits, then
just don't mess it up this time.
Are your glasses upside down? What are you doing?
They are.
Like I've gone insane. So you want me to say signing off? I'm Ryan Dollar signing off for Marco and Micah. No.
Well, something like that, but just so we don't have to say our own names because it's always so awkward when you say
Marco.
I'm Ryan and for. Just like that. It's always awkward, just like that.
Well, I mean, I figured y'all would find your rhythm by now, but that Marco goes first and then Micah, and I think Micah caught on to it.
Yeah. I mean, I did
You always look at me like
it's just awkward to say our names.
I'll be editing this out.
This will be on the YouTube episode.
Micah, how about you see us out?
All right, y'all. We are out. I'm Micah. This is Marco. And this is Ryan. And if you like fish and grits and all that sports shit, everybody let me hear you say,
oh yeah.